approach, Scout 6316, 8.8 for 6,000.
Scout 6316, North Gale approach, settle maintain 3,000, I'm 1 for the right.
3,000, Scout 6316.
Redwood 811, settle maintain 4,000, airport open o'clock, 1.
Take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over again. Gonna take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over again.
6 Norman Terrafly runway heading, runway 5. Let's take off.
Check. Hey!
And we're ready for takeoff. Sit back, relax. It's time to travel with Cosmic Passport. Spaced Out Weekend presents Elizabeth Anglin's Cosmic Passport, a 1-hour warm-up of news, stories, thoughts, and ideas to captivate your mind. You can follow us at spacedoutradio.com.
Now 20 years have passed us by, and we look back and count the time, burning like the summer sun when the world was young. Silently staring from the ground, and 7 trumpets wait to sound.
And now, here's Our Lady of Flight, Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin.
Good evening. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio Weekend. This is your host, before our host, James Tyson, Elizabeth Anglin, coming to you from the post-apocalyptic New Mexico of the Turquoise Trail, Madrid, Cedar Crest, Sandia Park, parts of Santa Fe. Yes, people, what did we just had? We just had a freak storm. We had a freak storm that knocked out the electricity from South Santa Fe easily all the way down to the East Mountains. And who was out in that storm looking for a restaurant to go eat at because she woke up this morning and decided just to have cereal and then work all day? Me. And I'll tell you that story in a minute. It's very Stephen King-like. Before I do, I want to tell you about what's happening later on tonight. We have Amy Coello, who is a Christian dream interpreter, who I believe from reading her website helps people interpret their dreams from a biblical standpoint, and also has an understanding of God's will happening in the lives of people right now, today, and how they can access understanding of what that may be through their dreams. She has a calling. She is called to this ministry, and we look forward to talking to her a little bit later on. Before we do that, we're going to have a little paranormal update, another paranormal update for the day, and the apocalypse of northern New Mexico. You're going to hear all about that. But before even that, I want to tell you about Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers, which is a membership that you can join for $5 a month. Yes, a great big frappuccino. I'll tell you, $5 a month. And I think that's Canadian, though I'd have to check with Dave Scott on that. I mean, he might tell us peoples in the United States that we have to pay it in American, but that Dave Scott. Anyway, Spaced Out Radio, Space Travelers. It's a lot of fun. We have our own chat room. We have swag. We have a newsletter that's coming up, and we have so much more than most people offer on other radio stations. I will not say whom because I'm nice that way, but we have so much more than other radio stations offer, and we have great guests, and we're going to have a special interview just for Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. So look for us, the Space Travelers, on spacedoutradio.com. Spacedoutradio.com is also where you can go to find out who Dave's going to be talking with during the week, Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock Pacific, every single day. Dave is the man, Dave is on. And then on Saturday and Sunday, it's James and I. You can always find us on spacedoutradio.com. If you want to be our friends on Facebook, again, you can go to spacedoutradio.com. You can look me up, Elizabeth Anglin. I'm the lady in the cowboy hat. Or you can go to my reading page, Mountain Psychic Elizabeth Anglin, and like me there. Ha ha ha. I like to be liked. Everybody likes to be liked. Some people don't really give a crap, but I basically like to be liked. And that being said, today was a great day here in Madrid, New Mexico. I opened my gallery, had people come in, had people stay late, had people get readings till 6:30, and then we had this amazing, freak, massive series of thunderstorms that were completely gully washers, completely flash flooded the town, knocked the power out, but didn't just knock the power out here, knocked the power out 40 minutes down the road, which is where I ended up because I thought, oh, once I leave this little podunk valley that I live in, I will be able to get food up at my favorite New Mexican restaurant, Los Cuatos. I get to Los Cuatos a little after 8 p.m. The power has been out in Madrid for about an hour, and they are closed because they also do not have power, and they are closing and not feeding anybody any more food. And I had just a little bowl of cereal at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I worked all day. Silly me. So I left, and I went down the street, of course. What do I see? It's getting dark, lots of thunder, lightning, lots of darkness, and a great big giant Shell station with all the lights on. Well, of course, I'm thinking, okay, there's always potato chips and maybe one of those sandwiches that they have at the Shell station. So I go into the Shell station. I'm in the Shell station, and I notice that almost everybody else in the community who has nothing better to do and is taken aback by the fact that they can't go out and eat like they were going to, that they can't play Xbox, that if they hadn't charged up their stuff, they have no Wi-Fi, they have no internet. Only people with backup generators might have a little bit, but they don't want to run down their propane. Everybody's in the freaking Shell station. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's the apocalypse. We were talking about the apocalypse last night with Troy Anderson. Oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of a New Mexican apocalypse. We're all in the Shell station, kids, adults, trying to figure out which bag of potato chips is going to save us from the apocalypse and which can of pop or which beer. And I ended up getting margaritas, not beer. So the tiny ones, the itty bitty ones. Well, not, like not the little, you know what I'm talking about. The small little margaritas. So there I am standing in a line. Everybody is kind of shuffling through the line, and I'm thinking Stephen King's The Mist. It's just like the grocery store. The grocery store where everybody goes in when there's a freak storm and the power is out, and they're thinking, oh, I don't have milk, or oh, I better get some bottled water, or oh, I'm out of cigarettes. So if you remember The Mist, anybody remember The Mist? It involves David Drayton and his son Billy and their neighbor Brent Norton going to the local grocery store to replenish supplies after a freak storm. This is like Elizabeth Anglin going to the local Shell station to replenish her potato chips, and she doesn't have any food in the house, and there's no restaurant open. Anyway, once they're there, they find other local citizens are trapped by a strange mist that has enveloped the town, and in which strange creatures are lurking. As the mist takes its toll on the nerves of those trapped in the store, a religious zealot, Mrs. Carmody, begins to play on their fears to convince them that this is God's vengeance for their sins and that a sacrifice must be made, and two groups, those for and those against, are aligned, which is when it is realized that staying in the store may prove fatal. A small group, including the Draytons, store employee Ollie Weeks, and Dan Miller attempt to make their escape. They find out what's out there is much worse than what they left behind. So, I get through the line after a while, in the Shell station. The guy at the register is really nice to me, points out where I get a turkey sandwich with my potato chips, and he points out where the mayo is. He makes sure to actually go from behind his thing to take me to the mayo, which is across the store. It was very, very nice of him. And I get in my car, and I'm driving back, and it's deep sunset. And I swear to gosh, there are these things flying. Now, they're not as big as the things in the mist, but they're like big, honkin' flying frogs or flying skinks or flying salamanders. Actually, what they are is grasshoppers, but they're flying. And some of them are flying into my windshield. Not a lot. It's not, like The Exorcist, but it's concerning because not only is there no power in the headlights of my vehicle, there are these very, very, very large grasshoppers that look almost like flying reptiles that are flying into my windshield or flying past my windshield. Most of them are missing my windshield. And then I kind of got really spooked. And I drove, and I listened to the radio, and I tried not to think about the flying things coming toward my windshield. And then I thought about the apocalypse. And I was glad Mrs. Carmody was not in the Shell station. That it was mainly just people who couldn't play Xbox and wanted to figure out what the potato chip selection was, about like me. And came home, and as I'm coming down the valley, I see all the lights that are left on in town turn on. And I happen to be speeding, and the guy behind me is speeding like twice as fast. So I end up pulling over because I don't want to slow him down. And as he passes, he's the sheriff, and he doesn't pull me over, which is good. So that is my post-apocalyptic New Mexico freak thunderstorm, take all the electricity out for the region story about tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Now let's move on to paranormal news. Well, what else has happened besides freak thunderstorms? Hugh Grant is in the paranormal news today. He is slammed as being cynical by a ghost hunter after he claimed her work was bull sugar. Yes, bull sugar. That's what we're going to call it. The actor summoned Wendy Mandy, the ghost hunter, after his son allegedly saw the ghost of a young boy in his bedroom. And he was speaking about it on the Late Late Show with James Corden on Thursday night. Grant said that Miss Mandy arrived at the property before claiming the presence of the ghost was so strong that she might throw up. So this is from the telegraph.co.uk, the United Kingdom Telegraph. He added that her sticks went completely wild when she entered the room and said that she burned about 7 pounds of sage, banged on a little drum, and played an instrument and said, "All the spirits are gone." Grant said the whole situation was shaming and added that if his son had claimed to see the ghost again the following day. Now, in an interview with the Daily Mail, Miss Mandy has criticized the actor and claimed that the ghost did not disappear simply because he had such a cynical attitude. Okay. She said she believes she visited the house last year and used a Peruvian rattle and a Tibetan singing bowl to try and change the sound frequency of the house. She said she only went to his house because I liked the person who recommended me, and it was a small child who was involved, and I wanted to help a small child. So, guess what, ghost hunters? If you're looking for fame and fortune through working with the rich and famed and fortunate, it can backfire on you, especially if you burn 7 pounds of sage, which I doubt she did. You really don't need that much sage. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? A lot of you out there listening, you're paranormal investigators. What do you think about this? She definitely wasn't a spirit medium. She was definitely somebody going in, or it doesn't look like she was a spirit medium. She didn't try to talk to the ghost. Looks like she simply went in and tried to move it along or cleanse the space. So as a spirit medium, I would say, well, that was kind of silly because it probably had something to say, and you're just moving it along, and that's not very nice. So, I don't know. Hugh Grant, he gets himself in trouble with weird and wacky people from time to time, including us, ghost hunter, paranormalist, and sometimes people who are not even spirit mediums doing it. Ghost hunting. Not doing it. Ghost hunting. All right. Our next story is from AP Magazine, and it's about Men in Black. And you know what? I don't think I actually want to read this story, mainly because I'm just not feeling like I want to think about Men in Black. My electricity could go out again. It's still thunder boomering out there. And, Men in Black could show up. So let's read about exploring belief in animal afterlife. This is one of my favorite subjects because as a spirit medium, I am often called, and more lately called, to do animal spirit medium sittings. This is from the Veterinary Medicine News, and it's about a study that was done on how many humans believe, what are the percentages of humans who believe that there is an afterlife for animals. The study was titled, Do All Dogs Go to Heaven? And it was done by clinical science professors Kenneth D. Royal, April A. Kedrowitz, and Amy Snyder. And it found that of the participants who believed in a human afterlife, 73% also believed in an animal afterlife. Of the 800 research participants total, the groups more likely to believe in the existence of an afterlife for animals are females. Woohoo! American at 51%, because, hey, that's what the population is. And, hey, more than half of us believe in animal afterlife. Go women. The next group was American Indian Alaska Natives, 71.4%. If you don't know, especially the West Coast Native Americans, well, a lot of you do because you're in Cascadia, do believe in spiritual rebirth and reincarnation. But American Indian Alaska Natives believed 71.4% that animals have an afterlife. African Americans believed at 58.5% that animals have an afterlife. Buddhist, 77.3%. People living in the South, 50.3%, just slightly over half of people living in the South. Imagine that, 50.3%. And pet owners, 45%. I'm a little concerned about the last one, that only 45% of all pet owners believed that their animals would have an afterlife. To me, it seems like more, but it may be that the people I talk to are self-selecting because, who would pay for a spirit medium sitting for a pet if you didn't believe it? Yeah, I guess it just seems like more to me. The notion of the human-animal bond is pervasive in the United States, says Dr. Royal, yet Americans are incredibly diverse in terms of their backgrounds, experiences, and views. Dr. Royal said, we want to explore this issue further by investigating the role that one's religious views might have in understanding this relationship and the value of pets. The study is set to be published in August in the journal Anthrozoos, and it's believed to be the first systematically to explore American beliefs about animal afterlife using a national sample of participants. Another notable finding, of the 12 different animals presented to the research participants, dogs, cats, and horses were rated as the most likely to experience an afterlife. Those rated least likely were insects, fish, and reptiles. While the study found a widespread belief in an animal afterlife, participants were less certain when asked whether animals have souls. 16% said definitely no souls for animals. 16.7% stated probably no, and 19.5% were unsure. So that's almost half the population when you add it up is either thinks no or they're not clear. Compared with that, 25.8% stated probably yes, animals probably do have souls, and 22% said definitely yes, they do have souls. For vets, this is important information because spirituality and beliefs about animals, including animal afterlife, will impact what clients think and how they feel and what decisions they make in the care of the animal. Do we euthanize? Do we not euthanize? How do we treat the death process? I had a wonderful situation, a little aside here. It was wonderful and horrible at the same time. My previous cat, Simba, he was my protector kitty. He was hit by a car in, 2000, in the year 2000. He was chased into the road by a visiting dog. The neighbors upstairs had a dog visiting, and they just happened to meet at the wrong time, and Simba ran away and ran into the tire of a car, and he was alive. But even if we tried to save him, he was going to have a very painful life. And we went to Angel Memorial Hospital in Boston with him, the best animal hospital in Jamaica Plain, Boston. We drove an hour to get there. And, they told me all the things that they could do and then told me what his life would be like. And I opted to go ahead and euthanize him. They waited. They said that they could give him palliative care for a few hours. They waited for my good friends to arrive, to hold my hand, and to bring calming things that he would recognize from home to put around him while they euthanized him. And we sent him Reiki, and I was already a spirit medium, and I watched him leave his body, and I watched him move on, and he said, "Thank you." But the very, very nice thing was that they were so understanding of my belief system that he would be moving on and that this needed to be treated as a respectful moment in time and that I personally needed my friends to be there with me, that they waited to do it. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So when vets understand animal transitioning and our beliefs about that, and if we believe that our pet has a soul, when they are kind about that, it is so helpful. And I'm so touched. I mean, it's 16 years later. I'm so touched because it was this month, actually. It was the end of August in 2000 that we had to euthanize him. So, Simba man, I'm glad you were my cat and you gave me that learning experience, your whole life learning experience. And also just what cool vets look like. So a lot of times now when I'm doing spirit medium work, I'm doing transition work, I'm helping people come to terms with transitioning, and I treat it as transition. And it can be a wonderful, touching event, and it doesn't have to be just loss. It can be very, very hard to lose a pet, as many of you know. So this is a cool thing that vets are having people do this kind of study, that they're reading this kind of work, and they're considering our lowly animal owner opinions about animal afterlife and the care and treatment of animals. So I say, here, Veterinary Medicine News, thank you for publishing this. This is from NC State University Veterinary Medicine News at cvm.ncsu.edu/exploring-animal-afterlife is where you can find this if you want to read it for yourself. Phew, words, so many words. Wow, is it getting muggy now? I turned off my swamp cooler. One of our regular listeners, Bob in the Spaced Out Radio chat room, posted on Facebook today that he was in a relationship with his air conditioner, and I said, I'm in a relationship with a cousin. Swamp cooler. It is so muggy right now, swamp cooler isn't going to work. So, because we had a holy mother deluge of rain. So I'm starting to sweat it out here. We're getting close to our time when we're going to listen to announcements. Before we do that, if you haven't checked out Spaced Out Radio during the week, please check it out. Go see what Dave Scott is doing. He gets a lot of interesting guests. If you are not a Spaced Out Radio space traveler, please consider becoming one. And before I go and send you off into the land of listening to advertising, James, are you there?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, James.
No, I'm
he's
here.
here.
Sorry, I'm trying to answer somebody in the chat room, and all of a sudden you ask me a question, and
he's pretty soon it's going to be like we're married, because it's like he says one thing and then he does another and then he says something else. Okay, I want you all to know this.
It's one of those things. You're talking away, James, are you here? And it's like you anticipate me like sitting on the edge of my seat for half an hour, waiting for you to ask? Don't make me come over there, young lady.
I think that when we're getting on 26 after the hour, especially since we're going over to Revolution Radio, you should be listening for the little bell that says, "Oh, James, play the commercial."
Yeah, but that's 4 minutes away.
No, it's not. It's 10:12. It's 9:26.
That's not when we play the commercial.
I thought we do it every 26 minutes.
No.
No?
If we were taping the show, including the intro. No, it's on the half hour.
Dave Scott, I blame Dave. I blame Dave. Okay, I got to think of something.
Oh, sorry.
He's probably listening. He's going, I'm going to get her. As soon as she comes off, I'm going to say, "Do you have time to talk?" And I'll be like, "No, I have to
So
call."
tell me about Armageddon. We've got a couple of minutes to enlighten me on... You really... When I was listening to that, I really think you described that wrong.
What?
You said things like, I was driving down the road and it was dark and there was like these grasshopper things. No. It's... Yeah. I was driving down a dark, lonely road, and the clouds came in dark and black and gray, and all of a sudden, that's how you'd say that.
Well, okay, so here, let me revise this. So if you have never lived in New Mexico, what we have here is horizon. We got so much horizon. We got mountains. We have thunderstorms. We have the multi-pronged lightning strikes, and then with them we have the multi-pronged cloud-to-cloud lightning strikes, all within the same thunderstorm cells. So I was driving down Route 14 from Madrid to Cedar Crest. It's a lonely mountain highway through the haunted Ortiz Mountains, where the miners of the past are out still toiling, looking for gold. Yes, gold. There's even a town called Golden, and it's still a ghost town, and the miners still live there because they didn't find enough gold, and they have to stay until they do. That's what they vowed to do. So I'm driving down this lonely highway, and there are flashes, incredible multi-forked, multi-strike flashes of lightning in a purple, gray, blue, magenta, green sky. And I'm thinking, holy F, this is the apocalypse, because I'm really hungry and there's no place to go eat and it's still raining and, ...
Yeah, that still didn't help. Okay, so...
No.
Yeah,
sorry.
You're just not the story reader I was hoping you'd be.
Dang it.
Oh, it's good though. I enjoyed your story of near death experiences in the New Mexico.
It's New Mexico in the wilderness. Yeah.
It is a New Mexican wilderness. Well, we're coming up soon with Amy Coello, which is the proper way of saying her name, which I've just learned.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
She's going to be talking about a few very cool things that I'm not familiar with at all. I've interviewed a lot of dream interpreters and people who do dream analysis, but never anyone from a biblical perspective. So that's going to be a big learning curve for me. And I'm kind of looking forward to that because I'll get to learn things. which is really the only reason I'm here, is to learn things. And with that, I'm going to leave Elizabeth on the side of the road here while we go to a commercial.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Have you ever had an extraterrestrial experience? One you just couldn't explain? Well, maybe I can help. Hello, I am Samantha Mullet. On the second Tuesday of each month, I will join Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio to bring a human aspect to ET contact. It's something I've lived with my entire life, and I'd love to help you understand. Let's share our experiences. The ET Experience, the second Tuesday of each month, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Fairies? Bigfoot? Dogmen? Trolls? Goblins? Hey, if it's cryptid in any way, I'm looking into it. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, also known as Spaced Out Radio's Crypto Guru. Join me every second Wednesday of the month on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, where we will talk about the stories people call tall tales. I will fill you in on the latest sightings and the hidden histories that are causing quite a stir. You can find everything at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is Jolene with Rivulet Reiki and Readings, and I want you to relax. Let me help you chill out and get in touch with your body, mind, and soul. In this busy world, sometimes we need to let go, and this is where I can help. Visit my website, rivuletrndr.wix.com/rivuletrndr, or my Facebook page, Rivulet R&R, to set up an appointment for relaxation, Reiki, or readings, no matter where you are. It's time for you to make time for you.
Are you an ET experiencer, but you just don't know what's going on? Are you too timid or shy to discuss it with anyone? Maybe I can help. Join me, R. Keith Andrews, the first Friday of every month on Spaced Out Radio, and I will help you to find the answers you're looking for. Together, I will help you understand the off-worlders and the true meanings behind your experiences. All you have to do is join us in the Spaced Out Radio chat room. See you there.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on 2 mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. 2 mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio?
Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us.
From the radio, commercials, to banners, to social media.
Have a product you'd like our host to endorse? We can do that too.
Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Spaced Out Weekend and Cosmic Passport can be heard every Saturday and Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time. We're always 3 hours a night, 7 days a week. And you can listen to Spaced Out Radio Monday through Friday as well. If you would like to advertise with us, go to our website, spacedoutradio.com, click on the Advertise with Us banner, and find the package that best suits your advertising needs.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio Weekend. This is Elizabeth Anglin, your host before the host, James Tyson, who will be on with Amy Coello at the half hour, and who I've been chatting with. But I found another paranormal story during the break that I just have to share because I've been going crazy over the Outlander TV show, which I have on Amazon Prime, which means that I can watch it obsessively in a binge watching format. and read the books at the same time, because I'm one of the few people who never read the books before the show or didn't read the books when the show first came out. Anyway, there's a story about specters in Scotland, South Scotland, that came out this week on August 3rd, and it was printed up in strangehistory.net, and it's called Specters of Souther Fell. 1. The sources. These are the people who've seen the specters on Souther Fell. Now, here's a person who is a researcher named Beach. Beach is usually bored by phantom armies, but the Souther Fell specters of the mid-18th century have very interesting features. First, the sources are of unusually high quality, the people who've seen them. Second, the number of witnesses was allegedly very high. Third, there are some interesting links with the folklore of the region. So, here are the details of the case. Souther is a large and striking mount in Cumbria, UK, about 40 miles from the Scottish border. And there's a picture, if you go to strangehistory.net, of Souther Fell. It's a big lump, as there are many big lumps in northern UK. The picture shows you that Souther Fell, which is also written Souterfell and Sutrafell. The witnesses were in the green land to the right of the picture, if you go online. Put in the most dramatic terms possible, in 1744, some 26 persons saw, for as much as 2.5 hours, a series of horsemen marching across the top of the mount, at a place that it was simply impossible for cavalry to go to. The number of persons, 26, the length of the display, 2.5 hours, all make the Souther Fell army a particularly puzzling case. There are dozens of book references to this case, but only 2 surviving sources have any importance. In 1747, a writer to Gentleman's Magazine visited the area to speak to several witnesses there, and alleged that there had been 3 spectral sightings on the mountainside. The second account was written instead by James Clark in 1789 in his A Survey of the Lakes of Cumberland, Westmoreland, and Lancashire. And the sources are full of discrepancies and also a good deal of agreed material. And the next 2 days, both sources will be offered up to read about. So this is August 3rd, 4th, and 5th that this came out, and for your examination. They are not easy to find online and are not least complete. It's like Outlander, when you try to find out what happened with the Scots and the near Scots at that time period in 1700s. Anyway, crudely speaking, the anonymous 1747 author had the advantage of proximity to the events, but distance from the region. He seems to have been an outsider. He was a Sassenach, who had decided to wade into the Cumberland matter. James Clark, meanwhile, was a Cumberland man who knew the area well, but who was laboring under the very great disadvantage of writing almost half a century after the events described happened, although he did have one contact witness to talk to. Beach, who has written about this, wants to note that there are 2 lost sources that might realistically have some bearing on the case. In 1765, the Wonderful magazine, which may have been the Fortean Times of its day, advertised in the Newcastle Chronicle, as well as the Salamander Man, and resentment gained by a blunder there was to a piece on the strange phenomenon of Souther Fell. This might have been just an excerpt of Gentleman's Magazine, but it might have been something new. It's hard to tell. That's a long time ago for newspapers to survive. Another interesting source is legal. In 1885, Clark reports that 2 of the witnesses had gone before a judge to swear to the sighting, and our writer Beach suspects that most of the material is in Clark's account. If he could recover the rest of the legal records of the witness reports, that would be very, very interesting. So this gets back to time travel. Was it an actual event where an army was on Souther Fell? Did they time travel to 1744? And did people watch them for 2.5 hours? Were they from from the past? Did they time travel, or were they simply specters? It's hard to know, but this is a pretty steep-sided little mount. If you go to Strange History Not Debt, Specters of Southerfell 1, you can see that it's quite steep-sided and that you would not want to be riding your horse up and down such a steep hill if you know anything about riding horses. Anyway, it has jig-jogged my Outlander fascination because I'm really hooked and I can't help myself. And there's another story that came out the next day, and I'm going to bore you all with Outlander. They have a map of Southerfell Mount and Southerfell Side, and this is number 2. The first account appeared in Gentleman's Magazine 1747 in a longer anonymous article on a journey to Catebec Falls with a map and description of the same. And here's what the article in 1747 said. Southerfell is a distinguished mountain of itself, encompassed quite round, with a turbinated trough, through which the Lendermaken is conveyed. I have no idea what that means. The west and north sides are barricaded with rocks. The east is more plain, but withal steep, and seemingly 900 yards in height, but everywhere of difficult access. It was on this fell that the astonishing phenomenon appeared to exhibit itself, which in 1735, 1737, and 1745 made so much noise in the north that I went on purpose to examine the spectators who asserted the fact and continue in their assertion very positively to this day. This is like a paranormal investigator more than 200 years ago. Isn't that fun? Here's a close-up of the map above, which is referred to in the next paragraph, note A and B, and it's a map of the Southerfell and the steep sides, etc. On Midsummer's Eve, 1735, William Lancaster's servant related that he saw the east side of Southerfell towards the top, covered with a regular marching army for above an hour together. He said they consisted of distinct bodies of troops, which appeared to proceed from an eminence in the north end, and marched over the niche in the top, marked A and B in the drawing, which is on strangehistory.net, Southerfell 2. But as no other person in the neighborhood had seen the like, he was discredited and laughed at. 2 years after, on Midsummer Eve also, betwixt the hours of 8 and 9, William Lancaster himself imagined the several gentlemen were followed their horses at a distance, as if they had been hunting, and making them for such paid no regard to it, till about 10 minutes after, again turning his head towards the place, they appeared to be mounted, and a vast army following, 5 in rank, crowding over at the same place, where the servant said he had saw them 2 years before. He then called his family, who all agreed in the same opinion, and that was most extraordinary. He frequently observed that some one of the 5 would quit rank and seem to stand in a fronting posture, as if he was observing and regulating the order of their march, or taking account of the numbers, and after some time appeared to return full gallop to the station he had left, which they never failed to do as often as they quitted their lines, and the figure that did so was generally one of the middlemost men in the rank. As it grew later, they seemed more regardless of discipline, and rather had the appearance of people riding from a market than an army, though they continued crowding on and marching off as long as they had light to see them. So it seems that, this was before dusk and after dusk. Now, the reference to the rebellion in what follows is a reference to the Jacobite Rising of 1745, of which Outlander is about. It's my favorite show. Note that this is one of the most striking points of confusion in the two main accounts. Did the sighting take place in 1744, as James Clark claimed, or 1745 as here? The Jacobite Rising itself only really began on July 23rd, when Bonnie Prince Charles landed in Scotland. The Midsummer Eve before the rebellion should really be 1745 then, but it could have been 1744 if the events were remembered loosely. So, anyway, that's where we get into some problems with people remembering dates and remembering paranormal experience. There's more to this. I'm going to leave it right there. But if you want to read about it, it is on strangehistory.net, Spectres of Southerfell 1 and Spectres of Southerfell 2. And for all of you Outlander nuts and paranormal nuts like me, it's just kind of, it's like drinking warm chai or warm milk. It's like, oh, yummy. Yay. Something really neat to read. So I've kind of had my paranormal fix. I'm good. James, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing fine. Just listening to you on your paranormal stuff and thinking,
yay.
Wow, you've got all this weird English stuff. One of the paranormal groups, one of them, the paranormal group that I'm associated with, or basically the one that I'm with now, the Canadian Paranormal Society, is actually connected to a group that has been the longest active paranormal investigative group in this planet plane, that is continuous since 1882. And it seems to be very cool. And they were a UK group too.
What's their name?
I don't know. No, it's the. I'm going to look it up. But thanks for asking.
Okay.
So just keep talking while I'm looking up. No,
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I will look it up if you stop talking. Norm. All. So okay. Yeah, it's a. It is a weird little. Friggin' there's so many paranormal societies. Disregard. Let's pretend I didn't even bring it up. But it's instead of paranormal, they use a different word like parapsych.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's thing. It's not the Philosophical Society, but it's the para something society that Montague Keene was in, and he did this. Is it that one? Did they do the Scholes report? And it's such a weird word that us Westerners, us non-native people, I forget it because I'm like, what is it? It's the Society for Psychical Research. Was Montague Keene.
No, that's it.
Is that
Society
what it was?
for Psychical Research. It's the psychical word that always throws me off.
Yeah, because it's like, why is it psychical? Why don't you just call it psychic, man? Like, so many syllables. I don't know. And yeah, we're not English.
The one that we're associated to through the ex-president. Well, he's still associated, and you'll hear Glenn on what is he? He's a parent. Oh my gosh! I'm going to be going on the radio tonight. I haven't got a clue what I'm going to be talking about. He's on the Chronicles in the Unknown. You'll hear him on Dave's show from time to time. And Glenn's mother was part of the Society for Psychical Research back in the day. Well, I shouldn't say back in 1882, but yeah, she's been a part of that. And
so did you know? Here's a little odd tidbit. So you know how John Mack was hit by a car when he was in London and he died?
Yes.
Do you know who he was staying with?
No.
Montague Keene's wife, Veronica Ford Keene.
Oh.
And so I went to see her because I went to go to the spot just to see, what was the deal with the conspiracy that, John had perhaps been murdered at that spot. And, I think there was some sort of interference with the driver, but I don't think it was a humans conspiracy. But anyway, I stayed with Veronica for a few days, and she is a major conspiracy theorist now. But Montague did the Scholes research project, which did seem to show proof of life after life after life or life after death. And the Society for Psychical Research is really known for that. That's a really big deal. So we have a strange tie-in because my friend died with your group. I mean, your UK group.
Hey, hold on. There's a lot of connections with that group. But if you look at our business cards, the Society for Psychical Research, or SPR, the little emblem is up in the corner there. Not quite like you would have if you were like a Mason and have some secret little eye thing on a pyramid freaking everybody out. But, we could have got one of those off your money, actually, and put it on.
Yeah, I just don't think the Society for Psychical Research tries to be at all secret. They're like, hey,
this is us. Yeah.
This is us. Life after life. Come on.
Yeah. And if you guys are out there in Twitter land and want to come and visit us, go look up the Canadian Paranormal Society on Twitter and jump on in and or on Instagram. We're going to be posting some of the stuff that we have done, and we're a little bit different than a lot of the other paranormal groups because we will bring in a priest to move things out, or a pastor to help you deal with what you perceive is a negative energy, or if something is stuck there. So we're not going to come and tickle it and tease it and make fun of it and then high five and come back every 6 months just to irritate whatever lost being is there. We're going to actually help it cross over to where it's supposed to go. And by the use of angels and like what we did to the one in my basement, which just sounds really weird. Yay! So he's where he's supposed to be.
That was a really nice story. I like the story of what you did. That was just such a nice thing. You don't have to tell it over again, but
no, I don't.
He did a really nice thing.
But that's different than you watch some of these ones on TVs, and they'll go into a psych ward where the poor souls are, were tormented here and then completely mixed up. And, instead of sending them or helping them point out where the light is or bringing angels in, they just kind of tease them, have a couple of beer, and, listen to it. You can hear it screaming. And then they think they've done good. Anyway, don't get me going on ghost adventures. But
well, you know what's neat? I want to ask you about Glenn Ferguson, and I'm sure listeners know more about Glenn Ferguson than I do. I think he has the most unusual accent. Is he from Newcastle, or where is he from?
Oh, I have no idea. I think he's, I want to say Croydon, but that's not it. Closer to London, I think.
Okay. He has such an unusual accent. And if you guys haven't checked out the Skulls Research Project and the Society for Psychical Research, they actually did manage to physically manifest some spirits where a group of people could see a spirit like walking across the room that they were in. And those sorts of things are in the write-up for the Skulls Project.
Oh, cool.
Was
it residual energy or spirit energy?
I believe it was spirit energy, but they might have been using, because sometimes spirits will use ectoplasm, and ectoplasm often requires like a human being to manifest or to coalesce. So you'd have to read about it, but I know that from talking to Veronica. She was talking about the times where they manifested actual spirits, the spirits that were being channeled, like they had a physical sighting, not just a third eye clairvoyant sighting of the spirits. And they had things move, which often happens in physical mediumship, table tipping and stuff, but they had many other things move. I actually have a cosmic passport that I need to get on the air with one of Australia's premier physical mediums, talking about apportations and moving things. Yeah.
How long is it?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and recut it for Revolution Radio because, Revolution Radio is upon us.
Upon us, yes. Yeah, and you can bring it up before one of my shows. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, like on a Sunday. I believe it's an hour and a half. It might be 2 hours, but he actually has tapes of. He doesn't just do physical mediumship with humans. He does physical mediumship with aliens. And he has tapes of what Zetans sound like, which we played on the air, or we played in the recording, noises from Zetans. And then he has a Scottish guy
who sounds
named
just
John.
like him? Oh.
No. He's Australian, and John is... Somebody told me he was Irish. I think John is Scottish, though, and he's a drunk.
Okay.
And he explains it all. It's interesting.
So we have Amy Coello coming on, and she's going to be talking about dream analysis and dream interpretation from a biblical stance, a Christian stance. And like I say, we've interviewed professors of dream analysis and who talk about anything from your teeth falling out to that time you're standing in your underwear in front of your whole high school class.
But wait, what is your teeth falling out? Because that's the one that always bugs me, and I hear. Yeah, that's because it bugs me because I'm anxious. Yeah, okay, got it.
I never had that. Talk about the kind of the feeding the emotion or planting something in her head. I'd never had that dream until after I interviewed him. I'm sure I had very anxious dreams where I had a lot of anxiety, but they manifested in the dream in a certain way. But once that was in my head, there I had a dream my teeth were falling out. I'm going, what the? And speaking of Scottish, he's from Edinburgh. Yeah, doctor of.
Do you remember?
No, this was a year ago, and I remember little bits and pieces about the dreams. But I'm looking forward to talking with Amy because this is a really cool. I'm so mature, aren't I? This is a really cool thing. This is it's a very interesting way of interpreting dreams. So this is going to be fabulous.
Yeah, I think it'll be very, very positive, and I think, I try to be non-denominational when I'm working, but I think when you find the positive parts of the Bible and you use them in a way that is relevant to you, you find something and can make what's written be helpful and positive and forward moving and expanding and help you grow spiritually, and you can find it in a book that everybody has and everybody has access to. And if you don't, go to a hotel or call the Gideons. That's a wonderful thing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'd love to hear what she has to say, because I can only imagine that this is really positive work for people who are of this religious mindset. But even if you're not, if you're non-denominational like me and you're willing to find positivity wherever it lives, this has got to be good.
So when you open the Bible, you only take out the stuff you like?
I do bibliomancy. I think, and that's a Christian thing. There's lots of Christians who do bibliomancy, where you basically open it up, you point to part of it, and you say, okay, what's my message for today? What am I supposed to pay attention to today? And that's been very positive.
Okay, I was just teasing you because I teased somebody else who said, well, this part of the Bible I don't believe, and I don't believe in this part, but this part resonates to me. I'm thinking, I don't think you're allowed to do that. It's one of those things. Well, no,
actually, everybody does. Like, I listen to this great, I used to listen to, not Kingdom Radio, but when I was in Colorado, I didn't drive very far. There was this great pastor who was on, he was talking about the apocalypse and the end of times, and he related it as something that the beast was something like when we get angry. He related it to the individual, and that the beast was not something in the exterior world that was coming about by governments, but it was something within us that was wanting to destroy our relationships, that was wanting to destroy the harmony and the beauty within our relationships with each other. And he did such a good job of it. And he's a recognized pastor with a big flock who can be on the radio. And I was like, yeah, this I can get behind, because it's not blaming someone else, and it's using the Bible as a means of self-responsibility, which I think is really important for anybody doing anything spiritual. That though there may be things out there and there may be negative influences, it's really important to be self-responsible.
Self-responsible is good. And before we cut more into Amy's time,
oh dear, I'll stop. Okay, well, I'm going to
do our introduction.
This.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Okay.
And we will listen to you again next Saturday on Spaced Out Weekend. Appreciate you dropping by, being the host before the host. And I'm going to be right back with our special guest, Amy Coello, right after, I was going to say it's a break, but gosh darn it, it's my introduction.
It's time to go live on Spaced Out Weekend.
13, please. Oh, hi, Kevin. Oh, is that the time? Kevin, my friend, don't you find that watch just a little bit loud? Well, I certainly hope our buddy Bumblefoot is playing when we get there. Oh, you stinky big bundle of hair. I said Bumblefoot, not Bigfoot. Oh, it's going to be a long night.
It's time to head to the 13th floor of the old log cabin for Spaced Out Weekend with James Tyson. You can tweet James at James Tyson SOR. You can find him on Instagram, Spaced Out Weekend, as well as on Facebook. On YouTube, our channel is Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can check out our website, spacedoutradio.com.
Little brother has taken control, shoveling dirt in every hole. Predators to condemn your soul, watching you and watching me. We're all connected but separated, misunderstood and so frustrated. A million armies of one have invaded, watching you and watching me. We live behind glass curtains and act like nothing's wrong. Soon you will belong. I know you're out there somewhere. We've watched you for so long. Wait for you to fall. We'll expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, perched high in his captain's chair, way above the clouds, here's James Tyson.
Thanks, Dave. It's me again, James Tyson, still broadcasting to you from my little log cabin on the top of the 13th floor of the Spaced Out Radio Network, located deep here in the southernmost tip of the West Canadian coast, down in these paranormal portals. And tonight's guest, as we spoke about with Elizabeth Anglin, is Amy Coello. Now, Amy is the wife of Robert Coello and mother of many, actually 11 children. Amy is a respected prophetic teacher, successful business owner, over 20 years experience in the legal field. She is a dynamic speaker, a lot more dynamic than I am, and a good storyteller. She's an author, television host, and ministry leader who has given her life fully to Jesus Christ and the advancement of his kingdom in the earth. You can go to her website, amycoello.com, and read about her adventures that she's having right now. She's actually out in an RV with the family and traveling all over the UK. I was going to say UK, the United States. She's down in Florida right now in the pouring rain. It's 1:00 in the morning where she is, so we're going to try to keep her up for the next 2 hours. She is the co-founder of eyes2c.org. And at eyes2c.org, she oversees marketing and business development, having interpreted over a bazillion dreams. She leads the team of certified dream interpreters. Amy brings over 15 years of business startup experience and plays a pivotal role in the launching of this exciting endeavor. And over the last 2 decades, she's been teaching, speaking, equipping thousands of people all over the globe with key principles on how to interpret dreams, importance of understanding the parabolic languages of heaven, and how God speaks to us through symbols. It's an absolutely fascinating divination, I would put it, and something that is kind of beyond me. And to put this much time into something like that, and your passion would be something that would have to be overflowing. So I'm guessing she's getting energy from somewhere else, something on high. Now, starting in 2004, Amy worked for Streams Ministries and was mentored by John Paul Jackson. John Paul sent out and ordained Amy and Robert to go to the mission field, where they planted 2 churches and a house of prayer in the Honduras. Amy's passion is to see that every person recognizes their calling, anointing and destiny, and to run with it. She loves to watch Father engage his people through dreams. She loves to activate people through her writing, teaching, and personal ministry time and mentoring. It's her mandate to raise up an army of people that will be trained and ready to interpret dreams as God pours out his spirit upon all mankind. She is the founder of the largest Christian dream interpretation Facebook group called Prolific Dreams, and I could go on for about an hour and a half, but actually right now I'm going to welcome Amy. How are you, Amy? I am fine. It's amazing what you've been doing. I look at your picture. You look like you're about 30 years old. Robert looks like he's about 35. But you've got 11 children, and some of them are grown up, and you've done all this over the last little while. So the energies above are keeping you fit, and you two fit to get out there and spread this word.
Yes, we are. I'm definitely impassioned, and I'm busy, and I think that's what keeps me young and fit, and definitely a fire going. And I think and until you find that fire in your life, there's a level of unsatisfaction that you have.
Was this something that came on early for you?
No, actually, I knew. I was a dreamer when I was a little girl, and just like everybody, nothing special, nothing, supernatural, or no weird things happened. It wasn't until probably 2002 where I had a dream, and I realized that God was speaking directly to me and giving me guidance. And then from that moment, I moved into this awareness where not only did I realize he was speaking to me, but then he started guiding me through. God just started guiding me through a really dramatic situation in my life. My husband and I would have some of the same dreams in the evening, at night. We'd wake up having had the same dream, or, I would be given specific conversations that would happen in a board meeting a week later. And so when I realized, okay, this is pretty serious, and God is actually speaking, I just started studying it, and studying the parables and how God speaks through this veiled, hidden, riddled language, and realized that this is a language for those that have ears to hear and eyes to see. And just started studying not only just the Christian aspect, but also the New Age and the Jewish understanding and every culture and every philosophy out there, because I was just fascinated as to where and what this was, And I studied every single dream and vision of the Bible for many years and trained under one of the more what we would say was the father of dream interpretation of our time, John Paul Jackson, and it just 2002 I came into an awareness. 2004 I started traveling with Dreams Ministries and teaching, and I haven't looked back since. It's my passion. My passion is to get people to understand that there is this big light and this energy that wants to communicate, this divine intelligence that wants to communicate with you and guide you and lead you into a path of success and abundance.
Now, I'm going to have to get this question out of the way at the beginning just to pacify some of our listeners. With me as a paranormal investigator and some of our more intuitive or spiritual people, we are always in a conflict, or we're not always, but we get in conflict sometimes when I say I was at a residence, we had heard a voice, and the person, we'll tape it, and the person says, well, that sounds just like my mother. Mm-hmm. We don't make a decision on that, but I'll get told by whatever, it could be a specific denomination, well, that is just Satan tricking you. So as a Christian, how did you get around the perception of those first dream contacts and the dream voices you heard weren't an imposter, but actually a divine interaction?
Well, I'll tell you, I grew up Baptist. I'll just throw that out there right now. I grew up Baptist, and we didn't, and as much as I was in church, we never read anything about dreams, ever, not ever. And it really, when I realized that God spoke to us through dreams and also spoke to us with divine intelligence, with strategy and wisdom and deliverance, all of that, I was a little bit angry. I'll be honest with you. Why was this not told to me? Why was I not taught this? And through the years, what I've done is I've stripped everything I've ever learned from the pulpit down. I stripped it all away, and I began to just read on my own and ask God to just give me an understanding that was not filtered by what I learned on the pulpit and from behind the pulpit from man. And it really freed me from that understanding, because if you see Jesus comes back, then we have the Mount Transfiguration. We also have Saul. We have Saul, bringing Samuel back up, and many denominations will say that was Samuel, that was his spirit, but that's not true. It was actually Samuel. And so we see different aspects. We also see, in the New Testament where they were looking down the street and they said, oh, I think it's his shadow or his spirit. And they say it so normal. It's his spirit. No, it was actually him. And so it was very normal for them. They understood that there's no time and space, and we're the only creatures bound by time and space.
Yes.
And so when we cross over, we are but a breath away from each other. It's just that we don't understand that in our limited thinking. And so our dreams are just spirit-to-spirit communication. And so we're able to communicate. They're able. Now, it's I do believe that God says, very clearly, don't confer with the dead. And I think he says that because we can. It's not like he says, don't do it because it's impossible. He says, don't do it because you can. And I would prefer me to be a higher revelation than to you to gain access from lower spirit.
So who would you describe as being a lower spirit?
Well, I think there's, one of the things that as I studied the New Age, and I have learned that, we believe the same thing. We really do. The New Agers and Christians actually believe the same thing. Well, are supposed to anyway. I used to say to myself or to others, I was a missionary to the New Age community. Well, as a missionary, you go and you study your community. So I went in and I studied the New Age, and I realized, oh my gosh, they get it. Like, they totally get it. They're operating in the supernatural. They understand the spiritual principles. They may call it karma, but it's really called seed time and harvest. And, you know, they may call it something else. It's law of attraction, but it's really, I can find it in the Bible 15 million times. And so, you know, the thing that made us different was that there was a higher revelation, which is Christ, the revelation of Christ and Christ alone. And then there are different levels of revelation. And I do believe that, and have communicated with others and in the spirit realm with lower level spirits, which are our beings, you know, our spirits as we cross over. And which is why I believe that God said, hey, don't confer with the dead. Not that you can't, just don't. Because I have answers that they don't have. I have an intelligence that they don't have.
Okay. And this was kind of a basis before you got into the dream or dream analysis, or this all was starting to build up to the point that it was kind of mirroring. You had your mission, you had your ministry. You're sent out on a mission, and your mission was basically to help people interpret dreams, was it not?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
I think it was more so an understanding as I communicated with people all over the world. I've traveled all over the world teaching on dreams, interpreting dreams, and you can't deny, just as you know, as a paranormal investigator, I'm also an investigator. Also, I'm a human trafficking investigator, and there are things that I understand there's things that I see as a private investigator that the world doesn't understand unless you're in our field. And so the same thing goes with dream interpretation. Unless you study, people come to me all the time with their opinions on dream interpretation, and unless you've interpreted over 10,000 dreams, I really don't want to hear your opinion because I understand, I see it, I'm there. You can't deny the phenomenon in Africa, in Japan, in a third world country, in America, and I find that what I have found is that, you know, every culture out there believes that there's a higher being, there's a God being that's speaking to them through their dreams, except our culture. And when Constantine came in and wiped out the Hebraic understanding, and, you know, then came the rise of the Greek mindset and the linear, and out of that came philosophy, and out of that came psychology, the Freudian and Jungian understanding. And, you know, my passion is to go back to the original language, go back to the original understanding of how to communicate with the spirit realm and how the spirit realm communicates with you.
And do you find that this happens primarily in dream state then with you, or have you ever had a communication while you're quote unquote awake?
Both.
Okay.
Yes, it's awake, asleep, and awake. It's during meditation, during times of fasting, during times of just pondering and heart meditation, and then also sleeping. I've had a major, you know, divine communication, and now I teach people how to read behind the veil, which is a level of communication. People say, oh, well, I don't hear God speak. Well, are you kidding me? He's talking all the time. God's talking all the time. In fact, God doesn't just, sometimes you think, just be quiet. I can't keep up because you're just always talking. You're just talking. And so I teach people how to hear him in everyday language based on the things around you, because everything around you is a manifestation of the spirit realm. Everything you do is a manifestation of the spirit realm. Even getting lost on a street. I tell people, don't get angry that you're lost. Look up at the street sign and figure out what the name means, because there's a message in it. God's talking.
Yeah. What do you think about things like angel code? The numbers, repeating numbers.
Yeah, I go back to the Hebraic understanding of numbers, and I studied E.W. Bollinger. I think he died in like 1913 or something like that. And I studied because he studied numbers biblically, and the Bible is nothing but numbers. It's all biblical code. It's all numerical code. And so I kind of shy away from angel numbers. I've read it. I've studied it. And I believe that there is a level of understanding, but there's deeper revelation. And to me, there's a level of revelation that's a little bit deeper, going back to biblical code, the numerical code in the Bible.
Okay, yeah, I had some very odd experiences with repeating numbers. Long story, but it was something that was not natural. Could not have happened without something else kind of putting its hand in. So I was just curious about that. Now you've written a book, The Dreams Window into Your Destiny. That, gosh darn it, it seems that should be a good book. It's like I was looking at it, and I was going to pick up the ebook on that, and it says it was a message of dreams that came to you during a time when you were rejected and abandoned by the church. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think that I have found that a lot of people with this intuitive gift, very strong intuitive gift, in fact, I'll give you an example. We go down in the French Quarter. Our ministry is down in the French Quarter on Sunday mornings when most people are in church. We'll go down in the French Quarter and we'll just interpret dreams. And people come up to us thinking it's a joke, and then when we interpret them, they really, they see that God's actually speaking to them. This major revelation happens, and we find that we can kind of get some of the Christians out of the way so we can do that, because sometimes they're our biggest nemesis. And unfortunately, they just don't understand. They think it's New Age. They don't, apparently either they rip those pages out of their Bible, or I'm just not really quite sure why they're so hostile to it. But we find that, we were ministering to a girl who was one of the psychics down in the French Quarter, right there in the Jackson Square. I was sitting there listening to her story, and I said, tell me your story. And she's a pastor's daughter, and she said, I was a little girl, and I had these dreams and visions, and I kept seeing things, and I saw stuff on the eyes looking at me on the wall, and I would see these visions that were going to happen. And I went to my pastor father, who was a Baptist minister, and the church told me I was full of demons. Well, so guess what? She's full of demons. And so her life is a mess. She said she's just a mess, a hot mess. And just trying to reach out to her and pull her back, because I think having been rejected spiritually by the church is probably one of the most horrific things you can go through, is spiritual abuse. Not so much even just relational abuse, maybe rejection of your family's number top, but rejection of your church is definitely right under that. And, just saying, hey, you don't fit in, so you don't belong here. You don't belong in our image, and you don't belong in our mold, and we need everybody to act the same and look the same and speak the same. And we've hurt a lot of people by doing that. And we spend, and then off came New Age, because nobody had anywhere to put them. These very intuitive people, what do you do with it? And the church doesn't have a place for you to sit.
Oh, yeah.
And so
with the intuitive people that I have on, who speak to the dead and speak with spirit guides and angels, none of them don't believe in God.
Right.
Yeah, they all believe in God. You can't just say, I believe in angels, but God doesn't exist.
Right, right.
It's again, it's like picking what you want to believe, but you're going to have to believe it. If you're going to believe this, you're going to have to believe all of it. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that science and theology are rapidly closing in on each other, especially, out of, and that's what I teach, is the quantum understanding of the scripture, not just reading the scripture, but the 7 levels of revelation, and and understanding that Scripture is actually a quantum effect. It's a quantum understanding.
Yeah, which was interesting. Last night I had on a fellow named Troy Anderson who wrote the book, The Babylon Code. He went through the Bible and took all the references of end of times and put them together. There's a lot of things, a lot of data in those books, which we call the Bible now. And I think for a long time there have been scholars who dug through sentence by sentence and interpreted it. And I think the interpretations were kind of said, this is the interpretation and this is what it means, and don't vary from it. And I think we're looking at it with a different eye now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with now the quantum, quantum mechanics has really come to the forefront now in science. And so now people are really getting an understanding that this isn't just a cute little, and I'll give you an example. We talk about the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, peace, joy, kindness, forbearance with one another, self-control. And when you really, we like to use that scripture against each other. Well, you're not walking in the fruit of the Spirit. And when you realize that it's actually not just a cute scripture, but it's really a quantum force that has been set out into the universe in order to protect you. It brings a measure of protection over your life, that anytime you step out of love, peace, joy, you operate in either love or fear. And anything outside of that scripture is fear. And when you operate in fear, which is a lack of self-control, a lack of forbearing with one another, a lack of peace, a lack of love, then you open the door to every evil thing, right? And so, and so when you get people to understand that this isn't just a great scripture to quote when you're in Bible, in Sunday school, but this is actually a quantum force that is at work that you can step in and out of.
Yeah, it's a fascinating way to look at things, and to see an old, this almost, I was going to say, it's a tired old book with a new light and a new eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes the book itself and the books within the book a little more easy to understand. I think we've always said the Bible is written by people who saw a specific event and described it as they would describe other things at the time, using the level of education they would have had and the level of knowledge. And now we can look back at it and say, okay, this is similar to what I see. I've seen a friend of mine who's an intuitive sees her guardian angel, and she describes this woman and the aura and the vibration that this person gives off would be described as wings. And she's come to her as an angel. And with that glowing, the big glowing globe around the head. And that's, she was told by the angel that I am your guardian angel. And Elizabeth, or whatever the name was, or, everything but Wendy, I think. No, but it was, but if you looked at that 2,000 years ago, you would describe it as, and you would paint it with that ball of light around the head and wings.
Right.
And this is what we describe as an angel.
Right.
Yeah, and the spirits that I've seen that are dark, they look like black dishcloths moving across a wall. Yeah. And a friend of mine who is a demonologist, his divination is something that I would never want. He sees those things that are dark. He describes them as cats, or a cat face on a pig's body, and they squeal when he walked into these houses to clear them. I'm really glad I don't see those. But
I know. I have a daughter who sees in the spirit realm, and I just thank God every day that I interpret dreams. And I tell people jokingly, but I'm not really joking, I do dreams, not demons.
Yeah. But when it comes down to the divination, you've been given this for a reason, and I know it's hard to understand, but with a strong mother later on you will know why you see these and other people don't. And she maybe just be one of those ones that need to understand, or my understanding, using the understand word a lot, my understanding is when they see you and see that you see them, it kind of pushes them out because they're not used to being looked at by human eyes. And it will move them on.
And we teach people that if you're looking at them and if they manifest in front of you, then you have the authority to take care of it. So we teach people, like I tell my daughter, because she would come in, and I think one time she came in, she said, I'm exhausted. I mean, I cast 2 out and 4 more show up. And I just told her, I said, or she would get scared and her, she'd go white. She'd turn white on you. And I'm like, what's the matter? She goes, it's right behind you. And I'm like, well, cast it out. Get it out. You're the one that sees it. You're the one with the authority to take care of it. Just get it out. Your light is greater than their darkness every day of the week, honey. That's what I, teach my children.
Yeah, and the living have far greater energy than anything else. It's just getting over our fear to deal with things. And it's absolutely amazing. We are talking to Amy Coello. She is a dream analyst and a Christian dream analyst, dream author, and speaker. And we're going to be back with more from Amy right after this break.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Would you like to expand your clientele? Have you ever thought of online radio advertising? Check out spacedoutradio.com to get your name out there. Our listeners support those who advertise with us, so why not give it a try? We have the most competitive advertising prices out there. Just click on the advertising tab on spacedoutradio.com and contact us today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Fairies? Bigfoot? Dogmen? Trolls? Goblins? Hey, if it's cryptid in any way, I'm looking into it. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, also known as Spaced Out Radio's Crypto Guru. Join me every second Wednesday of the month on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, where we will talk about the stories people call tall tales. I will fill you in on the latest sightings and the hidden histories that are causing quite a stir. You can find everything at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is your medium Joanna from Spaced Out Weekend, 2 mediums and a large. I would love it if you would come and join us with host James Tyson every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. Together, we will take your calls and your questions live. Our goal is to provide you with a positive outlook on deep questions that you may have. Questions regarding love, relationships, money, or whatever else is on your mind. Come and check us out at spacedoutradio.com.
Is the 24-hour world starting to wear you down? Let me from Rivulet Reiki and Ratings lend you a hand. Hi, this is Jolene. And if you're in need of Reiki or a room reading, come to my website, rivuletrr.wix.com/rivuletrr&r, and let us help you out. At Rivulet, I specialize in healing your body, mind, and soul, no matter where you are. And be sure to check out the Rivulet R&R Facebook page for your best deals. Remember, it's time for you to make some time for you.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Spaced Out Weekend with James Tyson can be found at spacedoutradio.com. Head to our website where you can join the Space Travelers and sign up for your new membership. You can also follow James on Twitter at James Tyson SOR. Now, back to our paranormal guru, James Tyson.
Welcome back, everybody. We are with Amy Coello. Please go to our website, amycoello.com. That's Coello. Coello, amycoello.com. I'm saying it properly, am I not? Oh, Coello. Coello.
Yeah, Coello.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the E. I made a big stamp on the E there.
I don't think anyone has ever gotten it right, so
No,
you're good.
I went to your website and it said, this is how you say it, and it was a capital E, and I thought, oh, it's got to be an E. Oh, drat.
Yeah.
Oh, Coello's, that's more like it's spelled. So I feel a lot better. So amycoello.com. Yeah, that's perfect.
And you can go www.dreamsbyamy.com. Makes it easier. Dreams by Amy.
Oh, Dreamsite Amy. Perfect. www.dreamsiteamy.com.
Now, Dreams by Amy.
Dreams by. Sorry, you're in Florida and it's raining. And,
right.
And I'm in a log cabin somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. What do you do with a dream? You have people come to you and say, like, I've taken notes, or I have a recurring dream, and this is my dream. How do you then sit down and interpret it for them?
Well, we teach, I do a show on Kingdom Flame, and it is, basically we teach people how to listen to the dream, and we pull random people out of the audience, and we bring them up on stage. I've never heard the dream before, and I teach people to look and see if, what is the title of the dream. We get people to title the dream, because when you title the dream, and when I say title, I mean give me a full sentence. Don't just give me, like, red shoe. I mean, the red shoe was falling. Red shoe is falling. The red shoe fell into the lake. And so, you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The red shoe falls into the lake. And so what we're looking for is weighted elements. And when the dreamer gives me a weighted element, then I will know which way to take that dream. Because the elements, or dream symbols, or also called elements, I know that those are what's important to the dreamer. And then I also ask them to isolate the feeling in the dream, because that's going to tell me every single symbol has a positive and a negative. It's like a yin and a yang. It's a positive energy, negative energy. And so, I'll know which way to take that. And when I say that, let me give you an example. Red, the color red. Red can be anger or lust, or red can be power and anointing. Black can be death, or black can be elegance. White can be a religious spirit, or white can be righteousness. And so, if I tell you a lion in the Bible, lion is, reflects one who seeks to devour, or it's the Lion of Judah, who's Jesus. So lion represents, in a negative sense, and biblically, Satan or God, and then the snake also is, in Exodus we see the snake is lifted up on a pole, and if everyone looks upon the snake, they're healed. So it can also represent healing, and then we also see the snake represents the serpent, the enemy. And so we try to get them to look at the positive or the negative, to isolate the feelings. And then once we get that, we teach them how to actually enter into the dream spiritually with them. You can feel it. It's a revelation that you enter into. And we teach them how to weigh it, how to feel the weight of the dream. And, as the person says the dream, we will teach them, and I'll ask them, did you feel that? When the revelation comes, they will feel that dream. And so, that's how we teach people. And so people tell me all the time, they'll say, oh, I have this dream, and I'll walk through it with them. But really what I'm trying to capture is listening to the dream, listening to their inflections, listening to the nuance of the dreamer, and then entering into that dream. And then there's a revelation that happens that it's not psychology, it's not learning symbols, it's not any of that. It's just intuitive understanding. It's spirit-to-spirit communication.
Wow, that is something that when I look at it from my kind of the spiritual side of things, that quote unquote new age kind of side, I can totally see how that would work. It's almost like it's semantics when the way you describe it. It's something that I'm familiar with, but also it is. I can see how it does connect to the biblical terms as imagery and as the symbols that were provided to us by the writers of the books. When you dream, are your dreams now that you're almost you are an expert in the symbolism? Are your dreams very symbol heavy, or are they still light, like a normal dream would have been when you were younger?
Depends on what season I'm in. I'll go through a period of time where I don't dream at all. I'll go through a period of time where I'm dreaming all the time. I know right before we bought this RV, I was dreaming almost every single night I was in an RV. On some adventure, I was on some adventure every night. And so it's just different seasons. And, I believe that, you were talking about, which I find fascinating when you said it because it's so true, when you said that, you had never had a teeth falling out dream until the other speaker was on. And it's so true. We call that giving your heart permission. And when we give our heart permission, we can go there. It's like lucid dreaming. I teach people that lucid dreaming is good. It was a gift from God, and that we should all learn how to do it. And that, once you give your heart permission to go there, you do go there. And I wanted to add too, I heard your interpretation on the teeth falling out, and, even to go take it a little bit deeper, teeth also, if you think about with this, because it's the number one reoccurring dream is your teeth falling out, fan snake dreams. And so if your front teeth fall out, it speaks of your identity. Like if your front tooth was out, you would hide your mouth, you'd hide your face, right? You wouldn't want anyone to see. And so that speaks of your identity. Your eye teeth speaks of your intuitive understanding, and your incisors, and then your molars actually represent your ability to chew on things, your ability to, take things in. Let me chew on that for a little bit. It's your understanding. And so it also represents wisdom, or if they're falling out, a lack of wisdom, or maybe you have braces on, it's straightening out your understanding, so it's not always anxiety. And I know people say that, but if you go into that a little bit further and you look into that a little bit further, there's actually deeper meanings to each of the teeth that are in there, and what's happening, how they're falling out, and just the context of the dream speaks a lot to whether it's, broken relationships, the need for wisdom, and which teeth are involved.
Yeah, and that was, his name was Ian Wallace. That's who the fellow was. Yeah, are you familiar with him?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay,
no.
He's a fellow in Edinburgh. And, he did mention, I'm thinking back almost a year ago now, but he did mention that the symbolism for a dream is multi-layered, that you can break down, break it down. When he calls somebody in, and he's a dream psychologist, so when you come in, he'll talk to you about your dreams, and during his visits, he'll break those things down and slowly get to the point, or get to the reality of it, whether you're being chased or naked in public, flying, falling, missing a train or a plane, or doing things like that. All those interesting, crazy dreams that I remember as a kid I was being chased by, or I was hiding on a Tyrannosaurus who was outside my elementary school, and I was inside, and it was running around trying to see me in the windows, and I was ducking down, and that was a recurring dream. And I've had lucid dreams, and I didn't know they were called lucid dreams when I was a kid. Kid being a teenager, I knew that I could, I'd have a really nice dream, a really cool, adventurous dream, and I couldn't wait to get back home and get all my homework done and get to bed because I could continue the dream.
Yeah.
And I thought everybody could do that.
No,
Well, that's
no, and we teach people too that if you have ever had a dream, got up to go to the bathroom, kind of woke up and came back in and went back into the dream, that's the beginning of lucid dreaming, and then you can actually, lucid dreaming, you practice it. A lot of people are just gifted at it. Just like I have one of my children is a very prophetic dreamer, so everything she dreams is extrinsic and it's going to happen. It's very telling. It's very we pay attention when she dreams, whereas I don't. I have more intrinsic dreams, and they're not as, prophetic and profound, and, just some people have the gift, of dreaming, and some people have, are able to lucid dream and just, really be active in their dreams and change the course of events, and there's a reason they're able to do that. There's a, because it's spirit-to-spirit communication, so if you are able to go into your dreams and recreate and interact in your dreams to recreate events, then you actually have a gift in the spirit realm to do that. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's it's nice in a family group. You can kind of look down and see. Well, what is really nice in your family group is that you are open to hearing what your children are experiencing, where I've heard other people who are intuitive, they got it from their mother's side of the family, and they mentioned things they would see when they were younger to their mother, and the mother would say, don't say that out loud. That is personal. Don't worry about it. And they end up blocking it or growing up a little misguided. Right. But,
and then feeling rejected, not understanding. I try to provide it, and I try as I go around and I speak that if children are so intuitive, they're just so open and so clean, and, if we can get people to teach their children that it's a safe place to experience the spirit realm, what a generation we will open up, and that's my goal, is to teach my children that the spirit realm is safe to play in, it's safe to understand, it's safe to operate in, and that most of what you do, and I try to teach my children too, that when I walk up and shake hands with someone and begin communicating, that's one level of what's happening, but what's really happening between me and that person is happening in the spirit realm. And that's what we feel when I first walk up to someone and I don't like them, or maybe I just kind of feel awkward around them, or red flags go up. Those are all flags that we pay attention to. Those are all like little things. Or maybe I really like this person and I really enjoy talking to this person. Maybe I feel drained after walking away from this person, or maybe I feel energized. That's all happening in the spirit realm. And more happens in the spirit realm than the natural. And so I try to teach my kids, spend more time in the spirit realm, not the natural. Spend as little time in the natural realm as you can.
Yeah, it's quite silly. And it's very fleeting. We're only here a short time.
Yeah.
Right. We have plenty of things to learn and plenty of places to go. This is just one of them. But do you keep a dream log or a notebook?
I do, and we just launched eyes2see.org. Eyes, the number 2, the letter C.org, and this is our online dream journal, and we're very, very excited about this. It's what we're on tour for this next year, is getting people to understand our mission. And what we have come to find out is that we know, and most people know, that God speaks to them individually through their dreams. And what must God be saying to us collectively as a community of people, as a body? And so we've already micro-proved our theory with the Dallas shooting and the Orlando shooting and Supreme Court Justice Scalia passing away. Well, what we believe is that we will, as a community, we're all puzzle pieces, and that if God is speaking to you individually, that He must be speaking to us collectively. And so we've hired data scientists and data analysts, and we've spent a lot of money, and we're building algorithms on the back end of that website. So as you log your dreams in, or we can get people to start logging their dreams in, then what we do is we will find spikes and patterns on things or hot spots. Like right now we're picking up some hot spots in Missouri, and we don't know why. We're looking, we're waiting to find out why, but we microproved our theory with the Dallas shooting. We had somebody there was a case where they actually got not only the shooting, but the day and time, the exact day and time. One of the dreams that came through was that a woman was running in an unknown city. This woman was from Ohio, has never been to Dallas, was running through the city, and she was hearing shooting. They're shooting, everyone's running, and they said, he's shooting, a cowboy shooting. Now, that was a week before the actual Dallas shooting. And so, we're starting to, but it's the girl, and I'll give you another example. We had a girl who there was a little girl who was murdered in Mobile, Alabama. She was about 4 years old. And the little girl came to a woman in her dream and actually held the hand of her murderer and brought the murderer to this woman. Now, why this woman? I have no idea. She was just some random woman that wasn't even in the same culture, completely different economic structure. And, it's just so random. And, this woman was very anxious. Why would this little girl come to her and show her? And she was trying to tell her family, that's not the guy, they arrested the stepfather. And she's like, that's not the killer. That's not the killer. I saw the killer. The little girl showed me. Of course, the family thinks she's crazy. And really, what is she supposed to do? Call the FBI? Well, you as an investigator and me as an investigator, we both know that they're going to profile you and hang the phone up, right? Nobody's going to take that phone call. But what if 241 people had that dream? Then would they listen to us? And so we believe that we will be able to collect esoteric information on natural disasters ahead of time and terroristic events.
Well, that's amazing. That's the, it's another way of doing it, and I've heard of people who are in the psychic community doing that, getting together and looking at what they've seen or what information they've got. But when you get it in dreams, when you get a prophecy in a dream, it is important. Why one person will get it over another person will get it is something of interest. Why do you think person A and B will get a similar dream and then 5 people won't?
I think that it's not so much that one person does or doesn't, and that's what we're trying to find out, what we think, our theory, if our theory is correct, is it's not so much just this person isn't, we don't believe that this little girl only came to one person. We believe that it could have happened to 200 people. But we don't know because there's no platform for us to find that out. And so we know that there were 8 people who dreamed of Justice Scalia dying, so we know that there were, 7 people that dreamed of, the Orlando shooting. We know that, so we're starting to pick up a little bit more data, and I think that it's more who's open. Who's open spiritually, who's seeking spiritually. When you're open and seeking, so many times maybe we believe God speaks through dreams, and then what happens? The alarm clock goes off, you don't want to chase the smoke, and you get up, put your makeup on, get your coffee, and you head out the door, and then you're done. You're in the American dream, baby. It's get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, get up. And so until we shake people out of that American dream, and realize that there's a great big God out there that's guiding you and leading you into everything that's not the American dream, then we'll have an awakened community. And so I think that's my passion of my call is to wake people up.
Which is one of the highest calling really is to get this thing, get your message out there and get it out in front of people so they actually understand what it is they're seeing is actually important to the greater good. What I really liked you saying about that when I asked why some people get it and some people don't, that's my opinion too, is that some people are a little more in tune, a little more sensitive, intuitive, but they have a higher vibration, however you want to phrase it. And in my opinion, and I'm going to ask you if you've noticed this, in about the last 7 or 8 years, we've got more and more people rising to that point.
Oh, yes. We are so, again, it's that yin and yang. To the depths of our demise comes this great phoenix from the ashes. It's like, yes, it looks dark and hopeless and bleak, but yet this great awakening is happening within people's hearts, and we are seeing it. We're seeing it. We're also seeing people being shaken from the religious understanding that are truly coming into this awareness that there was more than just go sit on a pew on Sunday and check off your good things, but that there's truly an awakening in the spirit realm, and we are seeing that. And I do believe if people out there think, oh, well, I'm just not intuitive, intuitiveness is crafted. It is sought after. It is, when you knock on the door, he will answer, and it's developed. And I know that, I was in law. I'm very analytical. I am the last person in the world who would understand metaphors. My husband speaks to me, and he's very creative. My husband's very, very creative and very flowery language and very wordy. I need bullet points and a brief and probably a sales projection to go with it. So when he would tell me, he gives me these metaphors while he's talking to me. It's kind of like he's on third base and he's he's about to slide home, but then he gets hit by the and I'm just like, can you just tell me in like bullet points, because I just didn't understand that language. I didn't get it. And, for me to have been called into dream interpretation, or for me to even understand it, there is a God, because that's not my nature. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's because I have pined after it. I have not let it go. I chased it down like a bulldog. I needed to know this. I needed to know more, and I needed to, this fire had been awakened in me, and I needed to know more. And then not only that, I needed to release that fire in others. And so when people out there say, well, I'm just not intuitive, or I can't understand dreams, no, you can, and it's developed. And the more you become sensitive, the more that you take care of your eye gates and your ear gates, and you watch what's going, the movies you're watching, the music you're listening to, when you start, whatever you eat is what comes out. What goes in must come out. And so if you're eating dog food, then dog food comes out. But if you're eating spirit food comes out, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's really a beckoning. Hey, it's that Song of Solomon understanding of God. Chase me, because I want you to find me.
Yeah, in my imagination, God is just bright white light energy and love and light. And that's when I do meditations, it's opening myself to love and light and the universal oneness of energy. And, even some conversations, they'll say, well, God created us in his image. And I say, I agree that we probably he doesn't have 2 legs and 2 arms, but that's maybe how he shows us. But he created us as energy.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And this meat sack that we have is just, we use this to create and move and subside, or as for movement and to exist. And the real us is the spirit made in his image of pure energy. And eventually we work our way back to that, and we become part of the greater energy. But that's my theory. But it's,
yes, well, and I like to think of it as these bodies. When I have a toddler and I need to get somewhere, I put the toddler in a stroller, or maybe I put the toddler in a walker. And I like to think of our bodies as, we're young, we don't understand a whole lot. It's this harnessed energy that we have, and so we're kind of put in a stroller, we're kind of put in a walker, until we free ourselves from that walker until we graduate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to think of it like that.
Oh, exactly. We're going to come back with more from Amy Coello, and I'm going to ask you. I'm going to touch a little bit, and you think about this, but I want to know if your dreams. Now, rumor has it you've been pregnant once or twice, and if your dreams, if you look back into your writing, if your dreams change drastically when you're pregnant and the different trimesters, and if it goes through, are you getting anything from the child's soul or anything like that? So kind of think back on that. We're going to be back with more from Amy right after this.
Are you an ET experiencer, but you just don't know what's going on? Are you too timid or shy to discuss it with anyone? Maybe I can help. Join me, R. Keith Andrews, the first Friday of every month on Spaced Out Radio, and I will help you to find the answers you're looking for. Together, I will help you understand the off-worlders and the true meanings behind your experiences. All you have to do is join us in the Spaced Out Radio chat room. See you there.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost?
Look no further than Spaced Out Radio.
SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click on to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on radio
or our website, including social media.
From commercial spots to banners, we have it all.
Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm here to bring you the Webster Phenomena every Saturday night, live at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. If you're looking for aliens and extraterrestrials, well, we've got them. Big and tall, short and small. You're bound to find what you're looking for. So join me on the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Jolene with Rivulet Reiki and Readings, and I want you to relax. Let me help you chill out and get in touch with your body, mind, and soul. In this busy world, sometimes we need to let go, and this is where I can help. Visit my website, rivuletrndr.wix.com/Rivulet R&R, or my Facebook page, Rivulet R&R, to set up an appointment for relaxation, Reiki, or readings, no matter where you are. It's time for you to make time for you.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Have you ever seen a UFO, a ghost, Bigfoot, or something else weird or arcane? This is Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. Every night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time, we are live for 3 hours of jam-packed information with the top guests from their field of expertise. Come take a listen and share your experiences with us. You can find everything you need at spacedoutradio.com. Are you experienced?
Have you ever wondered about those weird and strange creatures people have reported throughout history? Do you wonder if those stories are real? Me too, and that's why I started Cryptopia.us. Hey, this is Rob Morphy, crypto historian. Join me once a month on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, where we will get into the odd and bizarre reports, from the Dover demon to hairy hominids and everything in between. I will break down what people like you and me are seeing at spacedoutradio.com.
James Tyson can be found on Facebook at Spaced Out Weekend. You can follow James on Instagram, Spaced Out Weekend, on YouTube, Spaced Out Radio Show,
left.
and on Twitter at James Tyson SOR. And don't forget to sign up to become a space traveler on our website, spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. We are with Amy. Now I'm going to trip over your name all the time, Amy. Amy Coello. The easy way to say it is not tripping off my tongue. And just for my listener, what I did is I went on to www.eyes2c. That's eyes, EYES 2, the number 2, c.org, eyes2c.org, and I signed up. And I've got my own journal now, and I haven't done any dream entries, but it is the site we were talking about with Amy, and this is where all the dreams will get into. And let's, if I can get as many of you to sign up to that, if you would like to come and share your dreams with I2C and add them to their database, let's see if we can change something for the good. If we get these premonitions or what. And honestly, guys, if you have a dream, you don't think it's that important, remember it the best you can, put it in there and see what it is. Like, again, like Amy said, we are all pieces of a puzzle, and unless we see the big picture, we don't know what it is we have. And as a policeman, when I'm looking for witnesses, everyone has a piece of a puzzle, and a lot of them don't think it's that important until someone puts them all together. And Amy and her group are putting these together. So that's a fantastic thing. Go to eyes2c.org, eyes2c.org, and sign up. Amy, before the break, we were talking about the difference between dreams, like in anybody, and if you're a mom out there, you know what it's like to be pregnant, and the dreams, and even the baby brain, and not remembering where you put your car keys, or baby number one. But how the dreams change, and you can call it hormonal, we can call it the body change. In your experience, and again, 11 children. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
You've had some changes in your dreams. So, what was, when looking back, what was the biggest revelation you could come out of those things that you remember about the dream change?
I think half of my children were born with or a few of them were born before this understanding had really kind of come out of my risen in my heart, but. And so, the later half I really watched and paid attention to and wrote down and, just trying to get an understanding and talking to other pregnant moms. And, doctors will call it hormones. And I understand that, of course, spirit, soul, and body are not like a key lime pie, more like a cherry pie. When you try to cut it, it's not just cut, just cut here, and take a slice. Cherry pie, it just kind of melts into each other. And so, it's not this or that. It's all. It just is. And I know that there's women who are pregnant have a lot of water drains, lots and lots of water drains. And you also will see the intensity of your dreams will kind of come up. You'll start to have a little bit scarier dreams, maybe some dreams that are, cause a lot of fear of just the anxiety of something new happening. Trying to deal with your fears of being a mother, maybe a new mother, or maybe, a mother of two, and how can I love this other baby more than this first one, and just all those things that pop up. But what's really interesting is you'll start to get that meshing of another spirit, because your spirit is you're creating another spirit, you're co-creating with God, and so you'll start picking up dreams of kind of a little bit weirder dreams, very strange, a lot of water dreams. Maybe you're drowning, maybe you're in water and you can breathe. Those are very common when you're pregnant, or you're submerged underwater and someone's trying to tell you it's okay to breathe. So it's very fascinating that you are picking up the spirit of another human being, and in your dreams. And so you'll have different dreams, but about the third trimester, they get really intense.
Oh yeah, I guess the spirit, the little person is really kind of wanting to expand, as opposed to I can breathe underwater. Okay, got that figured out.
Yeah.
Okay, now where's my thumb?
Yeah, right.
Where's the exit?
And then, look, there's a bright light. Let's go towards the light.
Yeah, it's funny. We start that way and we end that way. What's up with that?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Start in diapers, end in diapers. Yeah. Start being fed, end with someone feeding you. Yeah.
Yes, and that light is always there. When I'm here, there's another light. Let's go to that one. Do you ever have dreams or anybody come to you in a dream who has a question? Like, let's say a spirit or a relative?
Well, I had a daughter who passed away, and I've a couple of times have had, she has shown up during important occasions in my dreams, and she's not, and I will tell you that most of the time, I would say 98% of the time, especially when I'm out on the streets, the number one question or the number one dream people tell me is a deceased loved one comes back. And they always come back with one of three things. They come back with a message, a gift, or comfort. And so most of the time, it's a message or a gift. They're coming to give something. I was on a show 2 days ago, and the gentleman said, my mother came back with this bracelet, and so it was a gift, and he had the dream, he had the bracelet in real life, and in the dream, she came back and was like, you need to get that bracelet fixed. And so, it was, they will often come back to bring you comfort, especially if they just pass over. It's just the sweetness of God. It's the sweetness of God to allow that, my dad, who recently passed away in October, came back to me. And it was funny because he was a produce consultant. And so he traveled around all my life. He traveled to different places consulting on produce, big chains and food chains and stuff. And when he got, when he passed away, I saw him again, and he was in heaven, and he kept holding these really big, huge fruits that I have never seen in my life. They're just huge. And he was telling me, so excited. He was like, look at these fruits. I've never seen anything like it. He was eating them and just so excited about these fruits. And it just was funny because I think not a whole lot changes when you cross over, fruits consultant in the natural and a fruit consultant in the spirit realm. So it's just kind of humorous that, it brought a lot of comfort. And he was sharing a message with me, And so a lot of times, that's the number one question I get asked all the time. And, unfortunately, then you have to deal with the Christians who say, well, that's not of God. And, you can't consult with the dead. And, just so much stuff to make other people feel, shamed for having these dreams, or maybe they don't want to say anything about it. But, remember, we're spirit to spirit communicate. Dreams are spirit to spirit communication. The only thing that separates me from my father right now is this dimension. That's it.
Yeah.
This physical body. That is it. When I go to sleep, my spirit interacts in the spirit realm, and so we are interacting. It's just interacting. You're interacting with demons, with angels. You're interacting with other people's spirits. That's why your friend from high school came back to you, and you're dating your boyfriend from high school or your ex, just. And I've had a situation where I was somewhere. I was telling someone this today, actually. I was preaching at a church, and the man that I worked for, mentored under, was known for showing up in your dreams and disciplining you before you ever came back to the office. I think it was in Amarillo at the time, and I had kind of said some things I probably shouldn't have said, and was kind of behaving in a way that probably wasn't becoming of the ministry, probably. And sure enough, he shows up in my dream and disciplines me. And then when I got back to the office, knew he had done it. So it's kind of like, and a lot of times he'd walk by me and I could feel him reaching in, trying to get information. I'm like, stop reaching in. It's invasive. Don't do that. So, he just was very intuitive and he knew how to translate, he knew how to transport, and bilocate and stuff. So
oh,
it was
really?
interesting.
Yeah, that's the ultimate stalker. The
yes, right.
The guy who, that's
he could discipline everybody. He could discipline anyone he needed to. There was a lot of us, and so he had to keep on top of all of us. So,
oh Lord, it's okay. Yeah, if you're going to do some astro traveling to discipline your staff, if you're doing that after hours, you should be compensated at overtime, at least an overtime wage. That's just silly. I had a person on who learned to do remote viewing. He was taught by Ron Moorhead, who was the doctor who taught the guys to remote view back in the day for the CIA. And yeah, he said, yeah, you can go poke around, but if your intent is not
pure,
you're not really going to get anything. You're not going to.
No.
And that's just the same if you're going to go spy on the Russians or something. If you had intent to do good, and that what you were doing was in the greater good, if you talk yourself into it, then you'd be able to do it. But if you were doing something on the sly, like disciplining,
well, right, and I think the spirit realm is based on motive. It's based on heart condition. Not so much mind issues, but more of heart. It's more heart-driven versus intellect-driven.
Okay. One of the fellows in the chat room, actually, there's a couple of things I'm going to mention from our chat room on Spreaker, and this one was from one of our listeners. Do you know what dreams you should not tell others about? So if you were doing a analysis of someone's dream, and it was, you're going to die tomorrow at 3:00. Not that you'd get that information, but how do you break the bad news?
Well, interesting you asked that question. The Jews, the Hebraic understanding of dreams, they believe you can read this in the Torah, or the Talmud. I'm sorry, in the Talmud. They believed that the power was not so much of a dream, but the power was in the interpretation. And so because, again, the Hebrews understood that declaration is what changed your surroundings. What you said and what you thought changed the outcome of your life. And so it wasn't about the dreams. The dreams were just warning you, but they would actually seek out and pay those who were gifted in flipping the dream. And so, yes, I have had many times where there was a dream that someone had brought to me, and it was pretty, it was telling, very telling, and I had to use a lot of wisdom in how to relay it. And I usually will relay it from a positive aspect, I did have someone on stage at one point, and I knew from the dream that he had been molested. And that most of the dream circled around that incident. But I knew that wasn't the time or the place to bring that up. And in fact, it wasn't until after the dream he brought it up and said, well, I have some background information. And I showed him in the dream where I picked that up at. But it wasn't my place to say that. But wisdom says, I'm going to share this information with you. I'm going to deliver it in a fashion that's not going to be harsh to your spirit, but it's going to encourage you to behave in a different way.
Oh, okay. Because I've talked to some psychics who will get readings from somebody, and they'll see a death in the family. And it just happened not too long ago where the person who got the information called me up and they said, I don't know how to tell my family member because this will devastate them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm thinking, well, you got the information. Maybe you got it because you have to tell them. But, there's certain ways you're going to have to break it down. It's like in my job telling, knocking on your door and saying, your son has been killed. That's exactly how you say it. Your son has died in a car accident, because that is the easiest way. And it's the worst job. If you always wonder what the worst job as a policeman would be, that's it. It's called notification of next of kin. It's an NOK. And for an empath, you don't want to do that. It's horrid.
Right.
But it's when you get information, you're thinking, oh goodness, how am I going to explain this to somebody? Or you see them breaking their leg. A psychic will say, what I see is you should just watch where you walk and stay healthy and be good and look both ways crossing the street. You'll be fine.
Right.
You don't say you're going to break your leg as soon as you leave here. Another question is, have you ever got a dream yourself that was actually meant for someone else?
Yes, you pick them up where you will absorb someone else's dream. And what that person is talking about is what's called extrinsic dreams. And so we have intrinsic dreams and extrinsic dreams. When you're younger, you're more clean, more open, and more aware. And I will tell you this, my children have never, ever, ever had night terrors. None of them have a lot of children, and none of them have had night terrors. We keep our environment very clean, and our children absorb what's going on in the home. Our children act out the heart of the parent. And so we teach people that if your kids are having night terrors, there's some things that probably, some open doors that you've had open that we need to close, because they're going to absorb those things because they're so clean. And so there's a purity about them that, unless we do something to harm them or to bring them the negativity, we instill that. We instill fear in our children. They're not born with that. And so a lot of times when we'll see a lot of people right before they have breakthroughs and stuff like that in their life, when they get an awakening, they begin to have very dark dreams, very, very dark dreams, and very scary. When they get help and they become cleaner, the cleaner you become, the healthier your dreams are. And in fact, I travel the world, and I can tell you, I'll walk into some churches and start interpreting dreams for their people, and I can tell you exactly where the heart of the church is, just by interpreting the dreams of their people and, determining where they're at spiritually, and also their own, personally, where they're at spiritually. And so once you start to get healing, your dreams are more about healing, healing the people, healing yourself, healing of the fractured soul, and rooting out things in your life, because ultimately the goal is for you to rule and reign. And so then those are called intrinsic dreams. They're all about you. And if you were actively involved in the dream, it's about you. And then once you become healed from maybe the traumas of your life, and you start to let go, and you start to become, walk in unity with God and with a deeper understanding, you move into what's called extrinsic dreams, where you have dreams for other people, about other people. And we see that with Joseph and Joseph with the bread maker and the cupbearer. We see that, he was having an extrinsic, he was able to interpret the intrinsic dreams of the two guys. He was able to interpret those, but then we see that he was having, and then he's able to interpret dreams for the king, that was extrinsic, and then that moved him into ruling and reigning, his ability to interpret intrinsic dreams. And so we will see with people, the cleaner and the healthier you become, the more your dreams become extrinsic.
Okay. So just cleaner and healthier, and now I've got to worry about that. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to watch my diet. Now I've got to worry about my dreams. Well, honestly, the meditation really helps. That gets the dreams very positive. I've not had a negative dream. Well, I can't remember the last time I had a negative dream. I've had the negative sleep event, like you think you're awake and somebody's holding you down. that kind of thing. And, or it's really hot out at night, and somehow you've wrapped yourself up in your sheets, and your body wakes you up by giving you a negative sleep event to get you to wake up quick so you can unwrap yourself so you don't overheat. But not, the spooky dream or the ghost, and not ghost, I should say. Ghosts don't bother me in my dreams. That's probably why they don't show up. They can't tease me. But the meditation has really brought on a raft of very clean dreams.
Yes. And I tell people too, one of the number one things I hear as I travel and teach is, I just don't dream. And I'm like, yes, you actually do dream. Scientifically, if you weren't dreaming, you'd have a nervous breakdown within 3 days. So you are dreaming. You're just not remembering them, or what I like to call it chasing smoke. It's like you knew you were dreaming, but it just kind of vanished as soon as you woke up. Dreaming is a gift, and it also takes practice, and you build it like a muscle. You build up to it, you practice it, you understand it. To the depth that you're willing to pay attention to it is to the depth that you will be spoken and given guidance and wisdom and strategy and stuff like that. So if you're not paying attention to them, then you're not going to, they're going to kind of fade away. And the more that you pay attention to them, the more you're able to keep them. They're yours. And the Hebrew word for dream is halam, which actually means to bind firmly to. So you start to remember them. They bind firmly to your spirit, and you remember them. And so I tell people all the time, the number one way to start dreaming again is fasting and meditation. Fasting and meditation will bring those dreams like nobody's business. And when we meditate and we connect to God, we are able to take that meditation into our dreams. So it's just it's spirit to spirit communication. Meditation is, even when you're asleep, we meditate, we see visions and dreams, and even that's what happens when you meditate. You see visions and you're having dreams, but you're in a meditative state, and so you're connecting with God. And God even says, meditate on my word, and meditate on my righteousness and my glory. And so when we do that, we are putting our spirit into a positive place, and that's what we're going to reap. What you sow into is what you reap.
When you're out on the road and having your adventure like you're having now in the RV, cruising around, are you doing just the U.S., or are you going to do kind of North America, Central America? No, stay out of Central America. But where are you kind of just going where you want to go, or is there a direction?
We are literally praying daily and saying, where next? We call it fire by night, cloud by day. And so we're teaching our children how to pray for the next location, and we pray and ask God to reveal to us where we should go, and we're going to teach our children how to do that, and we're going to work with them, and it will be the U.S. for about a year, and then we're considering the UK next. And,
there's some water in between, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
we're not going to take the RV there. We're actually going to buy one over there. I know somebody asked me that the other day. But they have those amphibious RVs now. So.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, the Atlantic is not called the Pacific for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll end up shark food. Yeah, and you're going to have to learn how to drive on the other side of the road. So that'll be fun. So get your children to start praying on that now. Because for safety, and an RV with giant airbags. I think they call them caravans out there. But
yes,
that's an amazing trip. And again, you're praying you're teaching your children to pray for a next location.
Yeah.
With, of course, specific, you're adding stars to that location in your prayer. It's got to have this, it's got to have that, and it's got to be somewhere that people want us to go. You're manifesting.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, again, like you say, manifestation is all through the Bible. It's just you're praying for something you want.
Yes, you believe and receive. We see it all through the Bible. You believe and receive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so connected to the belief system that has really come into me since 2012. And I'm actually reading oracle cards for people, and a lot of times I'll get messages and I'll look at them and say, you've got a message coming. It's going to be from your grandfather. He's going to be showing up in a dream. And I have no idea where I get this from, but I'll say, pay attention to what he's holding or what he's leaning against. He won't speak to you. So the grandfather is going to be there, but there's a symbol he's bringing to the person. It's going to mean something to them, and I'm not seeing it. I'm just knowing Granddad's going to be here. And of course they say, well, why doesn't he just like come through and talk to me? Well, Granddad knows if he comes and stands at the foot of your bed, you're going to pee yourself. So it's easier for Granddad to come into your dream. It's harder for him to talk, so he will just show you images. There are some people that he will speak to, like it's the generic Granddad, and there are probably people that they'll show up and stand at the foot of your bed. But the majority of people will have a communication with a loved one, like you say. But in my readings, it's always coming with a symbol, like leaning against an old car or holding something from their childhood. Yeah. And then they have to determine what that is.
Right.
I hate that. Right. I wish they could just come out and hand you a piece of paper you could read and go, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, that would be too analytical.
That's that darn free will screwing us up.
Yeah, right. And then we would probably misinterpret that too. But I think that, it's very difficult for people to interpret symbols and I think that's why there are dream interpreters, and even in the Bible we see the gift of dream interpretation, because it is trying to teach people how to read symbols and understand a metaphoric, parabolic language of heaven. And people ask me, well, what is parabolic language of heaven? We know that heaven speaks in parables because we see Jesus walk through, and that's what he came to do. He spoke in parables. He came and spoke in a veiled, hidden language, a riddled language. And it is so that, your mind doesn't comprehend, but your spirit sees and understands. And, those that are connected are, the ones that seek after, pine after, run after, chase after the things of the spirit. Those are the ones that get to see and hear.
Yeah. It's the language that only resonates to those who are connected, basically. And other people look at him like he's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to come back.
Do you have a dream?
Do I have a dream?
Yeah, do you have a dream? When we come back, we can interpret it.
Okay, we certainly will. We're going to come back with more from Amy Coello and a strange dream that I've had. Right after the last break, we're going to come back into the fourth quarter, and we can get Amy out of here and back to sleep down there.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium, Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on 2 mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. 2 mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Attention Spaced Out Radio listeners, for only $5 a month you can join Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. Your membership at spacedoutradio.com will give you access to private fan area on the website, get you a monthly newsletter, draws for monthly swag, and a whole lot more. Sign up today to become a part of the Spaced Out Radio experience.
Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott. Join me Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com, where we delve into all things paranormal, supernatural, extraterrestrial, crypto, and all topics in between. Come on by, take a listen, and tell us about your experiences. We are here for the answers you need. Spaced Out Radio, broadcasting right out of this world.
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Greetings and salutations, space travelers, from the Chronicles of the Unknown team.
What is Chronicles of the Unknown? I keep hearing about this thing.
It's a new paranormal reality TV show based right here in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Follow our team as we uncover claims of activity on the Caribou Gold Rush Trail. You can also follow us here every third Monday, where two members of our team will be available to answer your questions. We'll give you some equipment updates and some of our experiences on the road, right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Would you like to expand your clientele? Have you ever thought of online radio advertising? Check out spacedoutradio.com to get your name out there. Our listeners support those who advertise with us, so why not give it a try? We have the most competitive advertising prices out there. Just click on the advertising tab on spacedoutradio.com and contact us today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Every month on Spaced Out Radio, we look into the deep and dark reports of cryptids roaming around the world with me, Rob Morphy, from Cryptopia.us. I would love it if you would join me and host Dave Scott as we delve into the most arcane stories and reports regarding creatures of the unknown. My job is to hunt down the details and bring the evidence forward to you. These aren't your regular Bigfoot stories I'm talking about either. You can find out more about crypto history at spacedoutradio.com.
Tonight's edition of Spaced Out Weekend is brought to you by spacedoutradio.com, where you can now sign up to become a Space Traveler member. Now, for the final time tonight, here's Spaced Out Weekend's James Tyson.
Welcome back, everybody. We are with Amy Coello. She is a Christian dream interpreter. It's almost, I don't really want to say Christian. I want to say a spiritual but Bible-based dream interpreter based on the symbolism in the Bibles that we've kind of misinterpreted for a lot longer than we should. But this is what Amy does, and she travels around. And please, if you're just tuning in, go to her special website, www.eyes2c. That's EYES, the number 2, C.org. eyes2c.org, and sign up. And if you please add your dreams, if you're having some good ones, even if you're having bad ones, it's don't worry about it. Just put your dreams into that system, the best memory you can, and help fill that database. And for our listeners, please go over to spacedoutradio.com. Go visit the SOR Space Travelers Club and become a member today. We've expanded in there, and it's quite a nice little setup that we've got on spacedoutradio.com and the SOR Space Travelers Club. You can get yourself a book or two, and a lot of fun. We were talking before the break, Amy was wanting to get me to describe a dream I have. Oh, Amy. Where do I go with that? I'll give you one that this is a dream that I had 2 or 3 times, and I had it when I was very, very, very young. Would that count?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm about 3 years old, and I've made myself a little bow and arrow out of sticks. And I come around the side of my house in a nice grassy area in the sun, and there's a statue. And it's a statue of what looks like possibly an angel, or possibly like a Roman god kind of statue, that white marble statue.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's inanimate, so I shoot at it with my little bow and arrow, and it hits it in the eye, and it grabs its eye like I really hurt it, and stands up, and I'm absolutely terrified that this thing has now come alive. And I run away, and I peek around the corner, and it's still rubbing its eye, looking around to see where I've been. It doesn't chase me, but I've kind of awakened this thing, and I totally don't know why it came alive, and I was really feeling guilty about shooting it in the eye with the arrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, it's interesting that you say you had it around 3 years old, because 3 represents the number of God. And so I think this whole dream has to do with your, you thinking that there is no spirit realm. It's dead. It's stoic. There's nothing to it. It's just there. People look at it, but there's no life in it. And you took some pot shots at it, basically. And then when you realized that, when you went in a little bit deeper to actually engage with it, you realized there is life, and that it did come alive for you. And I think you having that, I think it was very intuitive that even at a very young age, you were actually called with a message. But we're hindered by our intellect, and I think that bow and arrow represents your intellect. It's that taking that pot shot. That's something that you didn't think was necessary. There was no life in it, and then voila, there is life. And I think that may, especially when we have reoccurring dreams, that that may have been an issue. And I bet you have not had that dream since you have been awakened.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That was just probably it's the furthest dream I can possibly remember, and it would be prior to me being 5 years old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's always stuck out in my mind. It's like the first real film, the full movie dream that I've ever had.
Right, right. And you remember it because it really is the core essence of who you are. You're called with a message. You're called, but this intellect kind of gets in our way, and we don't realize that we are actually called, intuitively to this message, this divine message.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense. It's a little. I've always thought it was a lot more positive than I remembered. To me, it was like, okay, I'm totally by myself. And there's just inanimate objects around, like the house and the stairs, the front steps of the house, and this statue was inanimate. And I'm just kind of zipping around with this, little tiny kid with a little homemade bow and arrow. Yeah. And all of a sudden I realize this thing I shoot at is not inanimate. It awakes.
Yeah.
And now I'm embarrassed and I'm upset because I'm apologetic, but I'm terrified.
Why? Yeah. Yeah. And that really, if you think about it, speaks to when we didn't believe and how much time we wasted, not believing. And that, almost that core essence of embarrassment of being, unbelieving.
Oh. Well, this is my other dream that absolutely terrified me. And this was going back to while I was in training for the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. I'm in a dorm. Well, this is the reality part. I'm in a dorm, and there's 31 other guys sleeping in this one big room. So I'm asleep, and my dream is I'm at a roadblock, and I'm a recruit policeman in a rural area, and a bunch of First Nations people have set up a roadblock, and I'm with an older or a more senior policeman, and I'm on the back of a pickup truck, and the senior policeman is talking to the fellow who's representing the First Nations people who have the roadblock, and that person is holding a shotgun. And I'm just kind of listening on how he's dealing with it. And I'm sort of paying attention, and I'm kind of looking around and thinking this is kind of interesting. Because it's one of those dreams where I think I'm awake, and where it was very, very real, extremely real.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, the policeman says something, and the First Nations gentleman says, well, I really don't think you think I'm serious, do you? And he points a shotgun at me and shoots me in the head. At which point, I wake up thinking, all right, that's just creepy. And, it's and then I get stationed like out of the blue in a small rural area that looks like this, with a First Nations reserve on it, and thank goodness it was a pretty nice one. But and I did have a policeman I worked with who was a bit of a jackass, who looked like this guy. But I said, and I told him about the dream when I got there. I said, you know what? If this ever happens, you can go to it by yourself, and I'm not getting in the back of a pickup. I'm not getting in the back of a pickup truck, and I'm not going to a roadblock. Just so you know. But
right.
That dream was absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. Well, and I think the whole thing, the two main symbols is in that dream is the roadblock, and I think that, and then being shot in the head, those are the two main symbols. And this whole dream has to do with, how you overcome roadblocks and things that hinder you, things that come to get in your way, and that, you've had to lose the intellect. This whole intellect thing keeps coming up with you. You've had to lose the intellect for you to even understand that they're, how to get through the hindrances and the blocks. So you want to use your brain to do that. But God would send you a mentor, or you would begin to see situations and understand. And you notice in the dream, you say, I was listening, I heard. What that is, that speaks of intuitiveness. That speaks in, you're not engaged, you are seeing. It's a discernment element that you are picking up, and you're learning how the different cultures, and not cultures, but foreign things that are foreign to you, and how they're dealt with, that you're able to discern how other people deal with them. And there's an intuitiveness about you that is learning how to get through roadblocks in your life, but you can't do it with your head. It'll never work.
Oh, okay. And again, since then, we can talk about the death. Images of death in a dream aren't specifically bad.
No, they're actually very good. God created death to God never changed. We're the ones who changed death, just like sex. Sex to God was created to be unity, unifying, oneness, alignment. So we're the ones who screwed up sex, right? We're the ones who, with our media, made it into everything it's not. It wasn't. We made it unpure, but sex. That's why we have sex dreams, and they're actually very good dreams. And they're very positive, and so are death dreams. It just means the end of one thing, the beginning of another. So it's very positive. I can probably count on one hand in all over a decade that I've traveled the world teaching on dreams, to where someone died in a dream and they actually died. And so a lot of times, we say, pray and cover that person if you dream that they died, but really it's just symbolic. It really is symbolic. Dreams are symbolic. They can be literal. They can be very literal. And I only listen to those literal dreams from people who actually have literal dreams, because that's actually a gift. But most of us, the general population, dream symbolically. And so death dreams are very positive. You want to have a death dream. It just means this is coming to an end. And if you dream that somebody dies in your dream, then look at the name, the meaning of the name of that person. Names mean everything in dreams. It's usually never about the person. In dreams, you want to look at the people and you have to weigh out who they are. Are they faceless? They're usually demonic, or they're angelic. Or do you know them? Are they a celebrity? Look up the meaning of their names. Is it someone you knew from high school? We're going to be talking about a higher learning process, and it's usually about their name. If you're having sex with someone named Debbie, it probably means that you are in alignment with workaholism. It means busy, to be busy. And where in your life are you too busy? You've come into alignment with busyness, and there's not a level of freedom or rest for your soul. And so names mean everything. And why? Because even in the Bible, names were so critical. God changed names all the time throughout the Bible. God gave people different names. In fact, he says that when we go to heaven, we even receive a new name. He names us. And so names mean everything. And most of all of your dreams, when you have somebody show up in your dream and you know their name, it's usually symbolic understanding. So if you're having sex with someone named whatever, you're either having sex with this, you're coming into alignment with either the meaning of their name, or you're coming into alignment or covenantal relationship with a gift set, positive or negative.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll try some of those.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, those ones. I'll try much better than the death ones. Well, actually, the death ones. Yeah. It's like you and I talked about.
As long as you're not having sex and dying.
No, it's
or dying from sex.
Dying from sex or having sex with dead people. The
right.
Again, we were talking about the death being the rebirth, and every second weekend I have a show called Two Mediums in a Large, and Paisley Town or Joanna the Medium, they'll pull cards sometimes, and they'll pull a death card, and they're very quick to explain that the death card isn't, oh my gosh, you're going to die. It's a rebirth, it's a renewal, and so that's basically what you're seeing in the dreams when you're dreaming of a death. It's the end of one chapter in a life, possibly in the beginning of another one.
That's right. Always good. Fantastic. Doors opening in dreams are great. Windows in dreams are awesome. And death in dreams are wonderful. You always want to die in a dream.
Yeah. That's I mentioned Paisley Town, and she's actually in our chat room, and she said, "Oh, hey, that's me." Yeah, okay, Paisley, back down. She's one of the fellows in the chat room, Chris. He had a dream, and he was saying, like, he's a gentleman who spent 3 years in a hospital, and he had a visitor in one of his dreams, and I believe this is a recurring dream. And the visitor came to him and basically stood beside him and said, "I know your story." And he gave him a bronze pig. Mm-hmm. So, there you go, Amy. What the heck was that about?
Right. Well, I think that, when we talk about bronze is not brown. And brown means, things of the flesh, things that are fleshly, things of, man-made. And I think, if we go back to Scripture and we look at unclean things, which we see with Peter when he's fasting and meditating up on the top of the roof, and he's so hungry, and all of a sudden he has this vision, and out of this white blanket was laid out, and all these unclean animals were there, and this voice from heaven, God says, "Eat." And he goes, and Peter goes, "I can't eat that. That's unclean." And the voice says, do not call what I call clean unclean. And really what it's saying is there's a dynamic that you cannot live by a doctrine. You can't live by a theology. You have to live by my spirit. Because what was okay in one part of your life is not going to be okay now. And you've got to be able to be fluid in understanding. And I think also that's what, this gift to him was. This gift to him was that he's not locked in by his paradigm. Bronze can also represent an award, a reward, something that he's come into an understanding that I'm not locked into doctrine. I'm not locked into this one way of living. I'm not locked into the fears and the traumas of my childhood, of, being in a hospital, for my life. I was unlocked from that, and I'm fluid in my understanding, and I'm connected in the spirit. And it's almost like it's a reward, and pigs represent that. Pigs can represent that lack of doctrine. Don't be so locked down that what you think may be true may not be true. What was true today, what was true yesterday may not be true today.
I see. Yeah, he was saying that it's, and Chris was saying too, it's the historic symbol from that region of Italy, I believe, or was these little bronze pigs. But he also says what you just described
pigs also represent to feast upon. It means to feast. It means it's a reward. It's a reward for your time and your labor. It's like, come on, let's feast.
Yeah. And he's saying now, after listening to what you described, he says, wow, that is correct. And he's another one who's signed up. He's great. We're getting more people to sign up to your dream thing.
That's awesome. We need as many people as we can, and I try to tell people all the time, we need them from all walks of life. We want unskewed data, so we're trying to hit each one of these different types of cultures and understandings and different people with different paradigms, because we need all of this data for us to understand collectively what's being said from the spirit realm.
Well, it is incredible, the parallels between what you do and what literally some psychics do. You are both very intuitive. You're extremely intuitive. The information you get is from the same source. It's just filtered for a specific audience, I believe. Mm-hmm. This is me putting a label on you, and I hate doing it, but this is what I'm kind of seeing. You're in a country that, if you got into an RV and said, I'm a psychic, I'm going to try to get everybody connect and hook up dreams and things like that, you were going to feel a huge backlash, a wave. But what you've been given as a gift is the understanding that this is all okay, and it is in the true Christian sense, a way to communicate and to understand these are messages you're getting aren't from some, little
ego
red thing behind a bush or your ego. It's coming in from the great source.
Right.
So I think in your time in your life, this is, and where you are physically with your family and with your husband, and what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. It is your divination. It's divination. It is what you're supposed to do, and it's with the tools that will affect the most good in that area.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your vote of confidence. Yeah. It feels good to do what God, the message, and I think that really is where our heart is helping people find their message and breaking free from the American dream to release that message to the world, to the remnant of people that God has placed just to hear their message. And that is our, that's what Amy Coello Ministries does. What we do is, we take you from the dream to the launch. We take you from the dream, the business, the ministry, the service, the product, the invention, and we put that into an action plan. Whether it's an intuitive message, whether it's a product or a service or a ministry or whatever you call it, that we then put that into an action plan, and we help you get healed and from the traumas of life through your dreams, we hone in on what the Spirit is working on and work in conjunction with it instead of just shooting at the breeze and you coming in and sitting with us, as a psychologist, and I just take your money and listen to you. No, we work with where the Spirit is working, and because it's a quicker work, and you get through it quicker because ultimately you are called to rule and reign that message and get that message out. And when we say we take you from the dream to the launch, we not only work with you on getting an action plan, business plan, we work with lawyers, business coaches, ministry coaches, life coaches. We take you through, writing a business plan, figuring out what autoresponders you need, how to understand your demographics and your target audience. I think that a lot of intuitive people are not successful because what happens is they think, oh, well, I have this message, and they go hang a shingle. And they don't understand how to get traction. They don't understand, how to, don't shoot, all of your marketing money out there, but how do you hone in on your demographics and, tailor your marketing, because you've got to have that business understanding also, because business is that wave that brings that message to an audience. And so that's what we do is we have a mentorship group called the Dream Circle, and it's $47 a month, and we mentor you in this Dream Circle on that dreams, how to understand your dreams, moving your dreams, and then we take those dreams, we work with you through them, and then we get you launched out and get your message out.
Oh, it's fantastic. And to naturally have that target audience, or giving the tools for that target audience is spectacular, and proof basically that you are supposed to be doing this because you're getting it from a lot higher than you think. Right. You might have sat down and decided, this would be the best way to approach the audience that we need to, but nah, that's not yours. That's
right.
That's someone else's. And I really like to thank you for coming on, Amy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I've posted on our chat rooms your website at www.amycoello.com. as well as www.eyes2see.org, and that's the one where we record our dreams. And I envy you going out on a cross-country RV ride with the family.
Oh, thank you. Well, we've got 5 kids with us in a 40-foot RV, so let's see how I fare next month. So it seems like,
we'll keep in touch.
Like a good idea now.
Yeah, I'll be following you on Facebook, and we'll make sure you're along. Thank you, and have a great trip. Be safe.
Yes, thank you. Sweet dreams. Bye-bye.
You too. And for everybody out there, thank you very much. And you all just keep an open mind. And thanks for jumping into the chat room.
This is our last goodbye. Young hearts will stop. Torn souls set free. All that we have is now. If this is what you want, then come to me.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. And hey! Let's be careful out there.
Far over the snow, what are those voices? They sing and they go, what are those voices? Look over the mountains, because somebody hide, somebody better hide on through the hill, like a pack of angry wolves on the trail. Dead or alive, we are out to get you, dead or alive. And forget yourself. If you're the one, better run away, son, you are done. Throw your gun, throw